Chapter 1295, A Blood-Reeking Journey. Chapter 1295, A Blood-Reeking Journey _ Avatar descended from the sky. His 12 electric dragons roared and stormed out, releasing scorching heat that covered Shenrong and Chen Yin. Inside that wild electric current, Chen Yin shivered. He used the wood power Upanishad to pull the ancient trees together and shield himself. Shenrong cultivated wind power Upanishad. He gazed at Avatar, his energy flying out of his eyes. Hundreds of wind blades appeared in the void of heaven cloud star. They came massively like daggers covering the sky that attempted to crush Avatar. Unfortunately, Avatar was wearing the excellent armor of the God Clan. The light rolled torrentially on his armor and created layers of light to stop Shenrong's wind blades. Avatar was the warrior of the Bradley family, so he had many good weapons. Many materials that the Bradley family had robbed from the star areas were used to create many good items that were distributed back to the warriors of the family. Although Avatar had only third sky of ethereal god realm, he had many secret treasures. Shenrong could never be compared to him in this aspect. Avatar's armor had neutralized all the wind blades from Shenrong. The 12 electric dragons swarmed over the trees Chen Yin had grown and exploded them. When the big trees were blown off, Chen Yin spurted out blood. His smoking body was revealed in the middle of the wood pieces. His face paled and his eyes were filled with deep resentment. He said coldly, "Avatar, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go." Avatar sneered, "Then I will leave you no chance of even becoming a ghost." While he was talking, the windshield on Shenrong's body exploded. The dragons then slashed his body. Although both of them were at the same realm, Avatar had always had the upper hand. Shenrong was much weaker in any aspect, including the power Upanishad understanding, the god power, and the level of secret treasures. He finally understood why Right had sent only Avatar, a warrior at the same realm as him, to be based on Heaven Cloud Star. Right knew that Avatar could subdue the Qin family by himself. When he recognized this sad fact, he knew that it was too late. The doomsday of the Qin family was going to come soon. Do you really think that we couldn't find any other slaves to exploit the mine besides your Qin family warriors? Avatar sneered, "Well, to tell you the truth, our Bradley family is going to invade another star area. We will have a lot of mine slaves then. If you don't behave, you will disappear, just like the Thunder Firmament League. First, I will bathe the Heaven Cloud Star in blood. Then, I will order my troopers to kill all the slaves on the mineral stars." Shenrong's face was filled with desperation. Chen Yin gawked. Now, he recognized that an impulsive action without power would only bring their family a deadly disaster. Unfortunately, there was no solution to this regret. He knew the Qin family was coming to an end now. "Save my brother. Please hurry. Save my brother." A voice that shouldn't be here came from the sky and expressed its owner's worries. Shenrong was baffled. His face became grimaced as he thundered, "Chen Lei, move, go away." To this sister, he had always regretted. When the family was about to be destroyed, he wasn't happy to hear his sister's voice. He felt so chilled as if he had just fallen into a dark abyss. "Save my brother, please." Chen Lei's voice arose one more time. Then, gold beetle war chariots appeared from the layers of clouds in the sky. "Oh well, good then. I can kill you all. I don't need to order the others." Avatar laughed, his eyes scanning Chen Lei's body. He was shocked when he saw Ouyang Luoshuang standing behind Chen Lei on the gold beetle war chariot. His eyes became so hot. It was also the last time his eyes became bright. Immediately, Shi Yin landed like a sharp sword and thrust it into his head. He thrust it into the man's head. One hand of his stabbed through Avatar's skull, grabbing his brains and urging his devouring power Upanishad. Then, the others could see Avatar's body wither terrifyingly as if a pump machine was sucking his blood and flesh. Shortly after, he had only a skin bag covering his skeleton. Shi Yin retracted his hand and Avatar's remained scattered like dust gone with the wind. The warriors of the Chen family on the gold beetle war chariots were frightened. Shivers were sent down their spines. Shi Yin licked his lips as if he wasn't satisfied yet. He mumbled, "Oh, turns out it works this way too. I was too afraid that I would be discovered, so I haven't tried all the abilities of devouring power yet. He released his soul consciousness to look around. Throwing a glance at the mountain where the holy land of the Chen family was situated, he grinned. After one step, he disappeared. Ouyang Luo Shuang didn't want to go with him, and she didn't even throw a glance at the mountain. He is. Chen Rong was bewildered. He sounded terrified. He's the man on the drawing? Chen Lei nodded. At the same time, the painful and horrible screeching arose from the mountain. They then saw that the warriors of the God clan, who they hated to the bone, were trying their best to run away from the mountain. When Chen Rong turned around to see, they found a layer of blood covering the entire mountain. They could hear the screeching and screaming from the warriors there, but they couldn't see what was going on there. What's going on? Chen Rong stammered. Before we came here, we were in the mineral stars. There's no god warrior guarding this place anymore, explained Chen Lei. Chen Rong and Chen Yin were frightened. After several minutes, Shi Yin returned, and he had changed into another black costume. He strolled toward them, shaking his hands that had the dark blood stains. He came to Chen Lei and Chen Rong and said, "Is there any god warrior left in Heaven Cloud Star?" Chen Rong shook his head. Shi Yin frowned and said, "Where's the nearest spot that the God clan warriors can gather? How is their scale? Is there any incipient God realm expert?" "Yes, there's an incipient God realm expert guarding Heaven Wind Star near here," said Chen Rong hurriedly. "Which direction?" "East." "Very well." Shi Yin turned to Ouyang Luo Shuang. Contemplating for a while, he said, "My power is recovered sufficiently. You don't need to go with me anymore. If you have stuff to do, you can leave now." "I don't know where the sea territory is," Ouyang Luo Shuang said faintly. "Have you ever thought about returning to Grace Mainland? Perhaps you don't know, but it's very different now. It can be compared to any high-level life star," Shi Yin said after pondering. Ouyang Luo Shuang was surprised. Her eyebrows twitched, then she said, "I will absolutely return. It's my homeland, but not now. My teacher treats me well. I must meet him at least. We have to talk." "What you want to do now?" "I'm not hurried. Wait until you find the sea territory. You will take me there directly. It saves my energy." "Okay, you should come and wait for me on the mineral star." "All right, you should go there directly." Shi Yin spread his arms. The starlight appeared in his hands, and he sketched a magical space teleport formation. With his god power, he created a spatial door. The other side of the door was the mineral star of the Chen family. Ouyang Luo Shuang didn't doubt him. She directly walked through the door. Shi Yin felt warm. He turned to Chen Lei. "I'm not going to return to Heaven Cloud Star, but that mineral star. This door will last for one day. If you want to leave, you should prepare. You can use this door to go to that mineral star." Then, he turned into a starlight beam flying east. His journey as a god of slaughter began from here, and he had terrified the entire Thunder Firmament star area. Who is he? Why did he help us? Chen Rong looked at Chen Lei after Shi Yin had left, his face bewildered. "I don't know." Chen Lei shook her head. Madame Lei made an excellent decision. She stopped us from reporting to Right. She had approached these two and given our Qin family the light of hope. Chen Deqiao appraised, then narrated the story. Right sent the news to the entire Sea of Stars. He asked the forces under his management to find that man. I think he's not an ordinary warrior. Maybe the dismal life of our Chen family is about to over. Chen Rong's eyes brightened. Then, he said, "Tell the family members to prepare. We will leave this place. We will have a better environment to live." Sure. Cloud Thunderstar in Thunder Firmament Star Area was a famous market in the entire star area. The warriors of the forces in the area often came here to trade. They were from different and complicated echelons. Did you hear the news? Haven't you gotten the news? Oh yeah. A slaughtering god has come here to kill only the God Clan warriors. I heard that many warriors of the God Clan were killed. There's no god warrior in the adjacent areas. 3 incipient God Realm experts and several hundred ethereal God Realm and original God Realm were killed altogether. This man has erased some bases of the Bradley family too. Similar conversations were heard on the streets, in the restaurants, and in many secret chambers on Cloud Thunder Star. Many native forces of Thunder Firmament Star Area had heard this big commotion of their star area through their private channels. A young man from the world out there had come and massacred the God Clan warriors who had enslaved them for a long time in Thunder Firmament Star Area. They received the news of the God Clan warriors getting killed almost every day and of this god of slaughter. In a secret chamber of Cloud Thunder Star, several elderly warriors were meeting up, their faces grave. This chamber was protected by many layers of barriers that even a fly couldn't escape. They were the representatives of the native forces in Thunder Firmament Star Area, the vassals of the God Clan. They were the ones with a good sense of who had been subdued by the Bradley family for so many years. Today, they were meeting up because of a person. What do you think? The oldest warrior of the group asked and didn't look at the others. Old Lay, it's your opinion that matters in this event. That year, you were the deputy hegemon of the Thunder Firmament League. We will listen to you. The others had their eyes brighten. Don't mention that. The Thunder Firmament League is gone. I'm not Lei Bao. I'm Lei Dong now. Guys, you should walk on your path. We know who he is now. He's the new master of the bloodthirsty force, the future overlord that can resist the God Clan. The Bradleys couldn't compare to him. If we get his favor, we will have hope. The old man called Lei Dong had second sky of incipient God realm, and he cultivated lightning power Upanishad. After the Thunder Firmament League was destroyed, he had changed his name and hidden. He discreetly worked and didn't dare to provoke right. We've put up with enough. If we have hope, we will agree to try once more. I agree. Sure thing. Chapter 1296, Human Head Feast. Chapter 1296, Human Head Feast _ On an isolated dead star, south of Cloud Thunderstar, the gray rocky ground exploded all of a sudden. A sturdy figure appeared, his eyes sparkling with a holy light that was like electricity. Shi Yin looked at Cloud Thunderstar and frowned. After he had left Heaven Cloud Star, he had begun his journey of slaughter, killing all the God Clan warriors in his way, including 3 first sky of incipient God Realm experts, hundreds of ethereal God Realm, original God Realm, and King God Realm warriors. Their deaths had made up the energy he had consumed in the fantasy zone, and it was a little bit more than needed. After this time of carefree and cheerful slaughter, he accumulated a deeper knowledge of the devouring power Upanishad's abilities. Finally, he knew that the devouring power Upanishad took more than the essence chi of the dead warriors. What this power Upanishad swallowed was power. All kinds of power from any kind of creatures. It could take their energy and convert it to the pure energy. Shi Yin could take the energy from the body, the stars, the 5 elements, the energies that created the warriors' power Upanishads, and more. While the others were still alive, Shi Yin could use the devouring power Upanishad all the time. He didn't even need to wait until the others died. Anyway, after the warriors died, their energy slowly reduced. He could take more energy when the others were still alive. The black hole was another application of the devouring power Upanishad that swallowed the souls. It was specialized in taking in the soul altar to create soul energy and refine the soul altar. It could help transform the soul altar and develop it until it reached a marvelous level. Perhaps it had the similar effect as the way Imperial Dark Tribe used to train their soul altars, but Shi Yin thought it was more excellent. Shi Yin had been wild and crazy on his slaughtering journey in Thunder Firmament Star Area, and it had helped him discover the real abilities of the devouring power Upanishad. However, he hadn't reached second sky of incipient God realm yet. He still needed more energy to grow his God power ancient tree. He needed more energy indeed. The energy converted from 3 incipient God realm experts, hundreds of ethereal God realm, original God realm, and King God realm experts refilled his exhausted energy but wasn't enough to break to second sky of incipient God realm. In this journey, he found that the native forces in Thunder Firmament Star Area had always cooperated with him, just like the Chen family. They had pointed out the gathering spot of the God Clan warriors and gave him the details of their realms and numbers. Shi Yin got the necessary information to prepare every time. After this experience, Shi Yin recognized that people hated the Bradley family a lot in Thunder Firmament Star Area. Although they were subdued, they didn't want to follow them. As soon as they found the chance to attack the God Clan, they became even more excited than Shi Yin. And it was because of their cooperative attitude that Shi Yin could carry out his plan smoothly. Today, he headed to Thunder Firmament Lake. He was ready to take Right's head to break through to second sky of incipient God realm. However, he wasn't so sure that it would be easy today when he came to Thunder Firmament Lake. Thus, he didn't dare to act rashly. He decided to stop by Cloud Thunderstar first to check the situation. As soon as his thought flickered, he landed on Cloud Thunderstar. Shortly after, he appeared in the center of the Thunder City. He closed his eyes to let his soul consciousness check the place. No God Clan warrior was found. Cloud Thunderstar also had the God Clan warriors base here, but Right had asked them to come back because of Shi Yin's mad slaughter. It was also the reason why Shi Yin had to change his thought. He had to go to the headquarters of the God Clan in Thunder Firmament Star area, Thunder Firmament Lake. Many warriors from different planets around Thunder Firmament Star area often came to Thunder City. The shops in this city were always packed. Shi Yin concentrated on listening. He found that most of the conversations here were about him. They called him by various names including God of Slaughter, Slaughtering Star, and the Butcher who slashes the God Clan. When they talked about him, they looked happy and joyful. They didn't even want to conceal their amusement taken from the God Clan's misfortune. Shi Yin nodded discreetly. Walking along this street, he knew that Right of the Bradley family had done many evil affairs in this star area. He made people hate that they couldn't plow his ancestors' graves. Right could live indulgently in this star area because of the God Clan's reputation. Otherwise, he would have been killed a long time ago. Shi Yin knew that because he knew that Thunder Firmament Star area also had third sky of incipient God realm experts from the conversations of the people on the streets. However, those experts weren't in Thunder Firmament Star area because they were afraid of the God Clan. Inside Thunder City, people moved back and forth like water currents. They were talking about Shi Yin on the streets, in the shops, and even in the restaurants. He pondered for a while, smiling and sitting on a random spot in the big square of the Thunder City. As soon as his thoughts flickered, the items stored in his incipient extent flew out and arranged above his head. Shortly after, screaming and shrieking arose on the square. Many warriors around the square looked at him. They were so excited. The human heads floating above his head were from the God Clan warriors, and many of them were infamous in Thunder Firmament Star area as the leaders guarding some important regions. People hated them a lot, though. This was especially the case for the three heads of the three incipient God realm experts. The warriors here had met them before. Seeing their heads floating in the sky, the majority of warriors on the streets and in the shops cheered crazily as if they were celebrating the new year. Instantly, the city was boiling. The warriors in Thunder City came when they heard the cheering. They stopped their works and gathered at the square. From a bird's view, they were packing the square like a cloud of grasshoppers. With Shi Yin as the center, the warriors from different clans circled him in layers. They pointed at Shi Yin and shrieked. They looked so happy and satisfied. Hundreds of god warriors' heads floated above Shi Yin's head. The warriors gathering in the square felt like they had a refreshing stream running through their hearts that washed away the resentment that had tortured them for so many years. When they saw the heads, they knew they were liberated. Many senior people and women began to cry and sob. It seemed like they couldn't control their joy as they cried when their enemies were killed and their grudges were clear. The great chaos in Thunder City had affected the meeting in the secret chamber. Lei Dong squinted and listened to his subordinate's report. His eyes brightened. He abruptly stood up and said, "He came. He shows off the heads of the God Clan warriors to prove his identity. He comes to Cloud Thunder Star and Thunder City to find us." "Old Lei, what should we do now?" asked the others. "If he has considered us, we shouldn't be cowards anymore." "All right, I will send the soul consciousness to invite him here to talk," said Lei Dong. Everybody nodded in agreement. Lei Dong closed his eyes and released his soul consciousness towards Shi Yin. Staying inside the circles of dozens of thousands of warriors on Thunder Firmament Star area, Shi Yin just stooped and said nothing. He was waiting for the invitation from the rebellious group who dared to stand against the God Clan. The heads of the God Clan warriors here were Shi Yan's gift to them to show his goodwill. Indeed, a magical light flashed then disappeared into his eyes. At the same time, the heads of the God Clan experts floating in the sky exploded, turning into dust and scattering around Thunder City. The crowd of warriors of Thunder Firmament Star Area cheered happily like they were celebrating the new year. They threw their hands into the air, hugging and congratulating each other. In the secret chamber of Thunder City, Shi Yan appeared all of a sudden, sitting next to Lei Dong. He squinted and asked, "Did you call me?" Lei Dong was startled. He jolted up and said respectfully, "Lei Dong welcomed the master of the bloodthirsty force." The others were still sitting, so they were baffled to see Lei Dong greeting the guest. They immediately followed him and stood up to greet Shi Yan as Lei Dong had done. "Welcome, master of the bloodthirsty force." Shi Yan rose his arms, his face casual. "No need to be too serious. Please sit down." Everybody then sat down. "You are Lei Bao, right? I used to hear about you. You were the deputy hegemon of Thunder Firmament League. Because the league was destroyed, you don't have the power to resist against the God Clan. Then, you've begun to seclude. Is it true?" Shi Yan talked calmly. Lei Dong nodded and said, "I'm called Lei Dong now. I didn't expect that you have heard about me, sir. It's my honor." "Right? It doesn't matter with the name as long as you don't forget your past." Shi Yan curled his lips and asked, "You called me here not to tell me that you've changed your name, right? Okay, tell me, what do you think?" "Sir, you came Cloud Thunder Star to find me. I wonder what you want me to do. As long as I can do it, I will do my best. I just hope you would agree with me on one thing." Lei Dong looked at Shi Yan deeply. "Agree with me to expel all the God Clan warriors from our Thunder Firmament Star Area. As long as you agree with that, I can die for you." "Old Lei, old Lei, old Lei." The others discolored as they couldn't believe it. Lei Dong waved his hand and said, "For the future of Thunder Firmament Star Area, I can pay with everything. It's not that I'm afraid of death. I just want a brighter future for Thunder Firmament Star Area. Today, if Master agrees with me, our Thunder Firmament Star Area will have that future. My life is in your hand." Hearing him, the other leaders of the forces who were still hesitant felt their hearts stimulate. They were so touched and their eyes became more resolute. Shi Yan was surprised. He looked at Lei Dong, nodded, and then said, "I agree with you." Before Shi Yan came here, he didn't think that Lei Dong would be that resolute because he thought that an old man who had to live and seclude to hide himself from the God Clan was like a cunning rat and wouldn't dare to stand up against the God Clan. Shi Yan knew that he was wrong. Looking at Lei Dong's fierce reaction, he was surprised and touched. "What do you want me to do? Please do tell. If this Lei Dong can help you, I will do my best. Even if I have to die, I will make everything all right for you," said Lei Dong resolutely. "I don't need you to die. What I want is simple. I want to know what kind of experts are staying in Thunder Firmament Lake. Have they sent any new expert there or not?" explained Shi Yan. "Oh, simple. They've just sent 2 second sky of incipient God Realm experts. However, the sea territory of our Thunder Firmament Star Area has encountered some problem. After those 2 arrived, the sea territory has become turbulent and the passages became ineffective at the same time. I think there are no God Clan warriors who will come later. Right, got a headache because of this. I heard that another incipient God Realm warrior wanted to come, but he was stopped outside," Lei Dong said, his face puzzled. Shi Yan's eyes brightened up as he laughed. He knew someone had his back and erased the rising obstacles. Chapter 1297, Rush to the Tiger's Denver. Chapter 1297, Rush to the Tiger's Denver. Underther. Carefree was gazing at a space passage in one of the 7 sea territories of the ancient God Star Area, his face dark and sinister. Elders Feng Ju and Spark stood by him and lowered their heads, their visages begrudging. Carefree looked at the space passage leading to Thunder Firmament Star Area. Until now, the Bradley family of the God Clan usually used that passage to get to Thunder Firmament Star Area to transport the huge amount of precious materials exploited there. This passage was the door connecting to Thunder Firmament Star Area. After DeCarlos had told Carefree where he had delivered Shi Yan, Carefree immediately contacted the Elder Committee and told them Sure Yan's whereabouts. The Elder Committee immediately sent 2 sky of incipient God Realm experts to Thunder Firmament Star Area to stabilize the situation first and stay there to wait for Carefree. However, when Carefree came, he found that the space passage was closed. He couldn't enter Thunder Firmament Star Area. Not only that, Carefree found that all the teleport formations that led to Thunder Firmament Star Area were deactivated. The doors leading to Thunder Firmament Star Area were all sealed and they couldn't open no matter how hard they tried. Carefree understood clearly that not many experts could do such a thing in this big universe. Not many experts could seal an entire star area. De Carlos. Carefree looked at the dark and deep space passage and hissed, his eyes filled with the flame of anger. A man holding a flaming red wine bottle descended from the sky. He didn't mind his manners and took a swig. Drops of transparent wine stuck on his beards. Carefree, De Carlos has outwitted you. He has plotted against you when he told you the kid's whereabouts. That man was the heavenly King Light. Carefree threw him a glance and said, although you and I don't cultivate space power, Upanishad, we can tear the seal in Thunder Firmament Star Area when we join hands. Heavenly King Light shook his head and waved his hands. Nah, not good. If we fail, the chaotic space current will swallow Thunder Firmament Star Area. All creatures living there will perish instantly. Oh well, since when did you mind others' lives like that? Carefree squinted. Of course you won't mind. Heavenly King Light snorted. The Bradley family warriors are in Thunder Firmament Star Area. As I'm a member of the Bradley family, I will not let my later generations fall into destruction because of my deeds. My family isn't as big as the others. If we lose one, our number will reduce by 1. It's not worth sacrificing many warriors of my family because of your disciple. Perhaps that kid is slaughtering your Bradley family warriors in Thunder Firmament Star Area. When Thunder Firmament Star Area opens one more time, I'm afraid that the warriors of your family will all be killed, sneered Carefree. He has just first sky of incipient God Realm cultivation base. Currently, Thunder Firmament Star Area has 3 sky of incipient God Realm experts from our Bradley family and more than 1,000 warriors from the elite force. I don't think he can dance happily there. Heavenly King Lightgrin turned to a big smile. Carefree, you should worry about your disciple then. You've underestimated him. This young man is the successor of that man. You will regret because of your impulsive assumption, hissed Carefree. Heavenly King Light burst out laughing. He has the devouring power Upanishad, not that power. Why do we need to be afraid of him? If he has that power, let alone breaking the barrier around Thunder Firmament Star Area, even if we have to break several star areas to kill him, it will be worth it. But now, it isn't worth it to take it seriously. I said you will regret it. Wait and see. Carefree shook his head. His face looked cold, but he didn't say anything else. Heavenly King Light didn't keep it in his mind. Don't talk about him. It's a really long time since we last met. Today, as we finally unite in the ancestral land, if we aren't drunk yet, we won't go home. Then, he pulled Carefree away and didn't even care about Elder Feng Ju and Spark. They stepped on the void and slowly disappeared. Thunder Firmament Star Area had a strange land that was the intersection of several outer space rivers. This place was Thunder Firmament Lake, where there were a cold iceberg and the earth and heaven energy was thickest. The special lightning generated here was really helpful to the warriors with the respective power Upanishads. The Thunder Firmament Lake was a real holy land, though. Right cultivated lightning power Upanishad. His palace was situated right above the meteorite with the heavenly lake. His palace was so imposing and luxurious with many mysterious murals of the God clan. They built this palace with countless jades and divine crystals. From a distance, the palace sparkled with rainbow light and showed its beautiful and precious value. The mysterious heavenly lake was in the middle of many palaces. Right now, Wright and 2 other god experts were soaking in the lake and relaxing. Hundreds of women from different races with various kinds of beauty like sexiness, innocence, purity, or maturity were wearing flimsy clothes and a bell on their collars to show their wonderful features surrounded the 3 experts in the lake. They were trying to attract them and earn their favors. The women held fruits and wine trays. They served the other three carefully. The God Clan warriors stood on the watching tower by the heavenly lake, their faces stern as they tried their best to protect the place. "Lo, maid, you're not pure. You humiliate me." Right looked at a ghost mark woman, bellowing with a savage face. The snow-white body of the ghost mark woman was decorated with delicate purple drawings that made her mysteriously beautiful. Wright was interested in her purple tattooed body, so he had abducted her here. Today, he didn't have a good mood, so those tattoos were like a thorn in his eyes. He wanted to trouble her just to vent out his anger. "Master, before I came here, I'd washed my body thrice. I was born with purple tattoos. Please don't be angry." The ghost mark woman was so scared. She kneeled down and begged pathetically. "You dare to talk back to me? You don't want to live anymore?" Wright thundered and spurted out a lightning ball that covered the woman. At that moment, her beautiful body was reduced to ashes, and the lightning also buried her soul. The pretty maids nearby felt shivers sent down their spines. They were so frightened. They acted more carefully as they were afraid that Wright would kill them for no reason like that. Recently, dozens of people were killed in Wright's hands. People were slaughtered almost every day. The maids here had to live in fear. The other two experts just grinned and watched Wright killing people. In their eyes, besides the members of their clan, the other warriors from the other races were just low people. They acted like when people didn't care about whether insects could survive or not. It was their naturally arrogant characteristic that was rooted in their values for a long time. "Hey bro, you got bad news again?" Cook was eating a bunch of some kind of sparkling fruits. "That new master of the bloodthirsty force is just a puppet they made stand up that the three chiefs could control easily. What are you worried about?" Jeremy asked surprisedly. "I just got the news. He came to Cloud Thunderstar. He had stacked my subordinates' heads in Thunder City. It's a naked provocation that I can't stand," said Wright indignantly. Cook was amazed. He shook his head. "The bloodthirsty force's master of this generation is impulsive, but it's no use to do that. Will the warriors in Thunder Firmament Star area stand against us now?" His eyes became cold as he sneered. "Well, they haven't been scared enough to see their own kinds getting killed throughout these years. Recently, my family has just taken down a new star area. Although it doesn't have any significant natural resources, it has a lot of warriors that we can use. If the experts of Thunder Firmament Star area dare to resist against us, we can obliterate them one more time. After that, I think they will be content to their lot," said Jeremy. "I just want to find that kid and kill him now," Wright grunted. "It's not easy to look for a person in a vast star area like this. We're not those old monsters that could use their soul consciousness to check the entire star area." Cook shook his head. "Oh, don't you think it's strange? After we've arrived here, the space passage closed. Heavenly King should have been here already, but he hadn't shown up yet. I think it's because of the strange condition of the space passage." The three continued to talk and drink in the lake. However, the cunning Wright was still outraged. All of a sudden, narrow light appeared in the mysterious void above their heads. That light flashed and sent the turbulent spatial energy. Wright, Cook, and Jeremy lifted their heads to look at that streak of light in the sky, their faces becoming grave. They swayed and flew out of the lake. Right after that, 3 sets of exquisite armor appeared on their bodies and lingered perfectly to show their extraordinary powerful features. "Who's that?" shouted Wright. The streak of light twisted and changed. It widened and became a crack. Some people walked out of the crack and appeared above Wright's head. Wright grinned. "Lei Dong, Jifeng, Harmon, you don't want to live anymore? You dare to intrude my place without permission?" Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Harmon were the leaders who Shi Yin had met at the secret underground chamber underground in Thunder City. Lei Dong nodded and smiled, his eyes steadfast. "Oh yeah, we don't want to live anymore. We're here today to risk our lives." He turned around to see Shi Yin. He asked, "Sir, the information I gave you isn't wrong, is it?" Shi Yin gave him a slight nod. He didn't expect Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Harmon to come here, but they were so persistent. In this group of 3, only Lei Dong had second sky of incipient God realm, which was enough to play with the others once. Jifeng and Herman had only first sky of incipient god realm, so their presence here could only bring a limited effect. However, they came with a fixation that Shi Yin didn't understand. Before they came here, they had even arranged for their deaths. Evidently, they had prepared for the worst situation. Sir? Wright was surprised. Then, he burst out laughing like crazy. You're that kid, right? Haha, it's good then. I've been searching for you for a long time. I didn't expect that you would turn yourself in like this. Cook and Jeremy wore cold faces, their lines of sight shifting from Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Harmon to Shi Yin. From now on, Thunder Firmament Star Area will have a new master. I will use the death of you three to exchange for a new life to this star area. Shi Yin looked at them and said indifferently. Chapter 1298, 1 versus 2. Chapter 1298, 1 versus 2. Thunder Firmament Star Area will change its master? Mwahahaha. You think you're Xian He or Ming Hao? You think you're the real master of bloodthirsty force? Wright grinned and opened his arms. Lightning beams appeared in his palms and became a lightning python that was thousands of meters long. It attacked Shi Yin grumblingly. Sir, allow me. Lei Dong lowered his voice, shouting and stepping forward. His sleeves shivered. Thousands of silver balls rolled out and brought earth-shaking lightning power to encounter the electric python. When they collided, lightning bolts shot out everywhere. The grumbling thunder shook the entire sky as if the sky was about to fall. Lei Dong used to be the deputy hegemon of Thunder Firmament League. He also cultivated lightning and thunder power at the same realm as Wright. He had to change his name and live in seclusion, but it wasn't because of Wright. It was because he was afraid of the Bradley family and the God clan behind Wright that could utterly destroy Thunder Firmament League and Thunder Firmament Star Area. Today, as he got Shi Yan's promise, he had finally erased his fear and worries. Finally, he dared to stand up and yell his real name. Right, I'm telling you, I'm the Lei Bao you've wanted to find. Oh, turns out you're that fish. Wright grinned after the time of being baffled. It's very good indeed. As long as you die, Thunder Firmament League will have no spark anymore, and this Thunder Firmament Star Area will quiet down. I will set you off. Jifeng and Harmon made up their mind upon hearing Wright. They wanted to attack him immediately. Your opponents are the people over there. Shi Yin walked and stood in front of them, pointing at the guards of the God clan on the watching tower. Jifeng and Harmon were so surprised. They were ready to die and to fight Wright and the 2-second sky of incipient God realm experts. They had prepared to die for Shi Yin. They could pay with their soul altars exploding to help Shi Yin damage Wright's team. At the critical time, Shi Yin had baffled them by saying that. It's enough as you have the will to do that. Shi Yin smiled, patted their shoulders, and strode toward Cook and Jeremy. He touched his glabella. 2 blood lights shot out from his incipient extent and turned into a sword and a shield. Both of them were as red as blood. The eyes on the bloody sword opened and looked at Cook and Jeremy. At that moment, Cook and Jeremy were covered in an endless blood sea. They seemed to see piles of skeletons that had fixed their souls and shaken them hard. It was the evil that had attacked the deep place in their souls. Although Cook and Jeremy were at second sky of incipient God realm, their minds were shaken instantly. They felt their blood burn by the fiery flame. Their calm and cold faces were gone. Cut the confused mind. Cook's pupils turned dark blue immediately as he hissed. Right after that, a cold light came from the sky and cut off the evil thought in his heart. He immediately regained his calmness. A cold, sharp peak appeared at his glabella and extended unceasingly. It turned into a crystal-clear ice mountain that was 10,000 meters tall and 100 of mu wide. The cold light emitted from the mountain with the power of ice. It spun and released countless light beams that bombarded Shi Yin. Cook regained his consciousness. Jeremy was awakened up by the cold air. A burning flame mark appeared on his forehead and began to release the terrifying heat. Shortly after, Jeremy was covered in that flame. He turned into a burning flame with a powerful heat. Strangely and magically, his heat was matched with Cook's ice and it gave Shi Yin more pressure. Ice and fire purgatory. Cook and Jeremy bellowed. The cold peak suddenly flew up and was placed above the fire. They created a layer of cold and heat energy, flashing and taking turns to appear. It felt like the purgatory with endless torment. Jifeng and Harmon weren't far from Shi. The shockwaves of the cold and scorching energies had taken turns to attack them. Their faces turned red and pale alternatively as their bodies felt so chilled and boiled at the same time. Their god power became chaotic and their soul altars were extremely unstable. Cook and Jeremy had joined hands and used a special method to fuse the extremely cold and hot power Upanishads. Their combined attack could affect the others' god power and soul altars. It immediately subdued the others and made them not able to use their real powers. Jifeng and Harmon were at first sky of incipient god realm. Under the joint attack of the two second sky of incipient god realm, they were helter-skelter, so they had to retreat, their faces fearful. Now, they finally recognized the difference between their realms. It was like an abyss that they could hardly cross. It made them feel helpless. They were shaken when they remembered that they weren't Cook and Jeremy's target. They had just been affected. They then looked at Shi, the real target of the other two. Jifeng and Harmon were bewildered. Under their gaze, Shi stood still like a 10,000-year-old rock. He stood imposingly under the bombarding cold light. The icy lights shot rapidly at him like a shower of arrows. However, he had a shield to block them. Magically, those ice lights weren't shattered. They melted into a cloud blood mark in the middle of the shield. Shi seemed to not be affected by the extremely cold and hot ice and fire purgatory. With the bloody sword in his hand, he quickly turned into his immortal demon body, the fighting mode of the immortal demon warriors. The energy fluctuations on his body increased massively. Jifeng and Harmon found that Shi's energy had surpassed theirs and wasn't less than Cook and Jeremy's. See, he's the new master of the bloodthirsty force. He's not someone we can foresee. Jifeng complimented and then said to Harmon, "We should listen to his suggestion and help him clear those people there. Just let him handle that tough trunk." "I think so," Harmon nodded. They immediately changed their targets. They scattered and attacked the God Clan guards. For the time being, Thunder Firmament Lake was so chaotic. The beauties with the dog collars had to run away and try to find the exit to escape. The battle taking place in Thunder Firmament Lake wasn't something that they could stand. Only a shockwave was enough to burn them into ashes instantly. The two cold and hot energies attacked Shi like waves in the sea and hit his body brutally. Shi stood still. In the space crack, he had known the real power of the bloody sword and the bloody shield through the ring spirit. Since then, his competence increased one level. After the recent slaughter, Shi got used to using the sword and the shield. With the marvelous abilities of his three power Upanishads and different explosive energies, he dared to challenge the three incipient God Realm experts. He was confident that he could kill them all. "Today, I'll borrow your energy to reach a new height." Shi's eyes became as red as blood. His thoughts flickered and the bloody shield had turned into many clusters of blood clouds, fusing perfectly with his immortal demon body. The immortal demon blood in his body boiled as it was activated altogether. Instantly, Shi got endless power. Touching his forehead, a brilliant band of starlight moved out of his glabella. The others could see the blood light moving inside that magnificent starlight band. It looked like a star river now had the blood veins like a human body, which was extremely strange, indeed. The star river flew out and aimed at Cook and Jeremy. However, it slowly disappeared in midair and Cook and Jeremy couldn't locate it with their soul consciousness. Abruptly, it became clear. This time, when it emerged, the starlight band thrust into the ice peak that Cook had created like a sharp knife. It came with the sharpness of space power Upanishad. Crack, crack, crack. The gigantic ice peak shattered and broke into millions of ice pieces at different sizes after the sharp star river struck it. The pieces then disappeared into Cook's body. How can you have such terrifying power? The armor on Cook's undying god body cracked and broke. He had many cuts on his body as if many pairs of scissors had just cut him. "Well, without such power, how could I dare to challenge the three of you?" Shi Yin grinned fiendishly and turned into a meteor light that fell on Jeremy's fire. Don't you know that I'm fused with the ancient continent origin? Why do you dare to play with fire in front of me? Shi Yin opened his mouth to spray different colored flames. They hovered like lanterns around him. As soon as flames emerged, the distinctive auras of the heaven flames diffused while Jeremy's flame shrank rapidly. It was like a low-level creature that instinctively avoided the high-level creature. Ice and fire fusion. Cook and Jeremy changed their countenances. After exchanging looks, they shouted in unison. The ice pieces Cook had taken in were shelled out of his body like cannonballs falling into Jeremy's fireball. Although it had received the ice, the fire wasn't extinguished. Quite the contrary, an unknown power was generated with the terrifying, turbulent energy fluctuations. After Cook and Jeremy had performed this joint power Upanishad, they looked restless and anxious as if they were afraid of some sudden trouble. Apparently, they hadn't mastered this collective power Upanishad yet. If they weren't in a reluctant situation, they wouldn't have used it. The fireball ballooned after receiving the ice pieces. It looked like a big hot air balloon that was about to explode. The energy fluctuations from the fireball were so formidable. It was like an entire life star that was about to explode. Shi Yin changed his visage for the first time and gave his compliments. Ice and fire aren't supposed to be together. You're really talented that you can make it to this level. However, it's not perfect. The fusion happened too slowly, and you guys aren't strong enough to control it. Shi Yin urged his soul altar and charged the power Upanishad. His starlight band now magically turned into a space crack that affected the ballooning fireball. Suddenly, a space energy that didn't belong to Shi Yin strangely came over and changed his star river. A space passage appeared inside Shi Yan's starlight band with a suction force that cooperated well with Shi Yan's thought. The fireball that could explode at any minute was pulled into the star river, and it teleported to an unknown area. Cook and Jeremy immediately lost the connection with the fireball. Half of the god power in their bodies was used. They discolored and their faces looked like the color of the earth as they were so frightened. It was clear that they had more bad luck than good luck this time. Chapter 1299. One is enough. Chapter 1299. One is enough _ Cook and Jeremy had their soul altars become weak because of the tremendous amount of god power that was used. The attack they had squeezed their power to create was dragged into the void and then disappeared. It had struck them hard, indeed. They retracted their hands, their eyes sparkling. They had a new idea. They were both members of the Bradley family with a noble status. They were here to help Wright stabilize the situation. Right now, when things went wrong, they decided to ditch Wright and leave this perilous land. Their eyes flashed lights when they exchanged looks and glanced at Wright. Wright and Lei Dong cultivated lightning and thunder power Upanishad, but his body strength, energy, and innate talents were much more powerful because of the God Clan's gifted advantages. Wright was using the undying God body to fight the enemy. He released the supernatural abilities of the thunder and lightning power Upanishad that were obviously one level stronger than Lei Dong. Even though they were both at second sky of incipient God realm, Lei Dong was in a dangerous situation. His lightning attacks turned to attack himself. The electric python was winding around him. When Cook and Jeremy saw Wright get the upper hand, they decided quickly. Cook said all of a sudden, "Wright, this kid is tough. Come here and fight with him. We'll help you deal with that one." Cook and Jeremy wanted to swap opponents with Wright. They wanted to throw the burning thing from Shi Yin to Wright. Wright was surprised. He turned around, his face dark. "You two join hands, but you can't beat him? Don't you understand the order from the family?" He thought that Cook and Jeremy hadn't tried their best. Cook and Jeremy forced smiles. They turned into a flaming beam and an icy beam that flew toward Wright. Strangely, Shi Yin didn't stop them. He stood by the heavenly lake. A magical light shot out from his pupils as he was gawking at the space slit that was slowly closing. He knew someone had helped him discreetly. That person had affected the space slit that Shi Yin created to guide the ice and fireball of Cook and Jeremy to another space. That person must be the dangerous expert that had brought Shi Yin here and sealed Thunder Firmament star area. Shi Yin didn't know what that person wanted. Seeing Cook and Jeremy sneak away, he released his soul consciousness to send a message. Precursor, what do you mean? He knew that Precursor should be around. Unfortunately, that one didn't answer him. The space slit he created closed. The space became smooth again. Inside the chaotic space basin, DeCarlos was making some magical hand seals by the place where the beams of light were congregating. The hand seal he created expanded rapidly. The massive light ball created by Cook's and Jeremy's fire and ice power was compressed. Shortly after, the big light ball was shrunk into a fist-sized crystal with the fire and ice energy moving inside. It looked marvelous indeed. Formidable energy. It's a waste if I let it explode. DeCarlos grabbed the crystal and smiled contentedly. A space saber appeared in his eyes when he tore a space slit and looked in Shi Yan's direction. You have the devouring power, Upanishad. You're in need of energy. I won't give you this thing. He threw the ball away. The crystal maneuvered, moved through spaces, and fell on an area. Dash. A small island in the endless sea, Grace Mainland. Xiao Yan's beautiful figure was sitting on a rock by the sea. Looking at the deep blue water, her beautiful eyes yearned. The images in her head changed continuously like the river of time, moving fast from the past. The memories and the scenes between her and Shi Yan in more than 200 years were rewinding in her head. She seemed to control a sharp weapon that could move through time. Her soul could visit different times, or even go to the past. A crystal suddenly fell from the sky and landed on her hair bun. Then, like a drop of water, it quietly seeped into her head. She shivered and couldn't help but look at the sky. Her beautiful eyes were filled with inexplicable surprise. A flow of pure energy shot out from her energy. Quickly, her realm changed. Inside the chaotic space basin, DeCarlos' line of sight could get through layers of spaces to look at her, his eyes complicated. He mumbled to himself, space, time. At the same time, he heard the message from Shi Yan. However, he just chuckled and didn't answer. Thunder Firmament Star Area. Shi Yan cut off the hope in his mind, his face resuming the usual coldness. He looked at Cook, Jeremy, and Wright, grinning fiendishly. He didn't worry that Cook and Jeremy could escape. Today, Thunder Firmament Star Area was sealed like a locked steel cage. No one could get in or out. Under such a circumstance, who could avoid Shi Yan's attack? He was an expert with the space power Upanishad, though. Sir, please remember your promise. Lei Dong shouted. His soul altar was fierce like an erupting volcano. The god power in his body moved rapidly. Ji Feng and Harmon discolored and shouted, "No." Shi Yan was shaken. He took action immediately. He moved swiftly through the distance and appeared directly behind Lei Dong. You've done so much for Thunder Firmament Star Area. I don't need your sacrifice to kill them. He rose his hand and placed it on Lei Dong's back. The turbulent energy fluctuations on Lei Dong's body calmed down. Sir, Lei Dong hissed. Help me destroy those people here. Only I am enough to send Wright and the other two to heaven. Shi Yan grinned and swung the bloody sword in his hand. A blood rainbow shot across the starry sky. Shi Yan disappeared into that bloody rainbow. Old Lei, let him deal with them. He can do that. Ji Feng screamed. Harmon also told him, a decent death isn't as good as continuing to live. You don't need to sacrifice your life. You've been sacrificed a lot for Thunder Firmament Star Area. Lei Dong was baffled. He looked at the blood shadow, his eyes complex. Pondering for a while, he nodded and lowered his voice. Then my life will be saved for Thunder Firmament Star Area and you. He turned around and his face became resolute as he began to attack the God Clan warriors together with Harmon and Ji Feng. The warriors of the God Clan were Wright's troops. They didn't have the power to resist the other three. The God warriors' bodies exploded and their souls flew out like mist. However, they didn't know that the deaths of those low-realm warriors were the best support for Shi Yan. Shi Yan had quietly absorbed the energy of those dead warriors and pulled it into the blood rainbow to create the Blood Soul Sea. The different negative emotions including fear, despair, brutality, and resentment rose torrentially in the Blood Soul Sea to intensify the evil of the sea. Shi Yan enjoyed taking in the energy in there. Staying inside the Blood Sea, he had used the death power Upanishad smoothly. The Blood Sea then became streams or ribbons extending toward Wright, Cook, and Jeremy. The three of them felt like they were sinking in a muddy puddle, and the blood streams had restrained them, which even made their soul altars sluggish. They couldn't use many of their supernatural abilities. While they hadn't recognized it, Shi Yan's blood soul sea had affected their souls. Thunder cracks the sky. Wright roared savagely. The lightning serpents flew out of his hands, screaming and attacking the Blood Sea. They wanted to break it apart. Cook and Jeremy urged their god power. The flame and the ice mountain grew in their incipient extent as they joined Wright with the attempt of crushing Shi Yan's bloody world and killing him. Too bad for them. Shi Yan was performing his best powers, and he had taken in the energy from many dead warriors. He was in his best condition now, and the power he could use surpassed Wright and the other two by far. The blood soul sea was like a bloody malignant tumor wiggling. After it had covered the three experts, its energy continued to increase. The negative energy rose unceasingly. It was so terrifying as it could directly adhere to their soul altars. Space enlarges greatly. Shi Yan bellowed in the Blood Sea. The Blood Sea then exploded like shattered glass and turned into countless brilliant blood light dots. Wright and the other two were shrouded by the Blood Sea. Their bodies exploded and their bones cracked. Inside the Blood Sea, Shi Yan grinned. He seemed to have so many clones staying in different pieces of blood crystals. It looked like there were so many different mirrors by Cook, Wright, and Jeremy that Shi Yan could move freely between them. It was a marvelous ability of space power Upanishad. It was the space reflection that he had learned in the fantasy zone. Many Shi Yan changed their locations and swarmed towards Wright like a cloud of locusts. Those illusions had life energy fluctuations, so they weren't just illusions. Their energy fluctuations were created by dead, despair, resentment, fear, and brutal emotions that could erode the soul and seep into the three's bodies. Wright was wounded. Staying between the shattered pieces of blood, his face was inexplicably baffled. This expression of his was the last image of him in this world. The three of them could never move again. Their soul altars fell so they couldn't control their bodies anymore. Shi Yan's illusions created by negative energy faded and disappeared into the three of them. Quickly, their sturdy bodies withered at a speed that naked eyes could see, as if someone was using a pump to take out their blood, flesh, and energy. Eventually, they had no beam of life energy. After a blow of the wind, they scattered like dust and completely vanished. Their soul altars disappeared altogether. Right after that, many Shi Yans that disappeared now reappeared and congregated, fusing with each other. Eventually, there was only one left. This Shi Yan squinted and licked his red lips like a beast had just feasted sufficiently and grinned in satisfaction. He knew that the result of this battle would determine the general picture of Thunder Firmament Star Area. And as for Shi Yan, he would break through to second sky of incipient God realm. He had achieved one more step and shortened the distance from the Immortal realm. Lei Dong's group was still chasing after the running God clan warriors. After one of them was killed, the essence chi from them became a beam of bloodlight that joined Shi Yan's body and increased his power. Until this moment, Shi Yan had slowly understood deep knowledge and marvelous abilities of the devouring power Upanishad. Chapter 1300, Gambling. Chapter 1300, Gambling _. The stars were twinkling in a starlight band in south of ancient God star area. There was one bright star among of them that was the exclusive life star of the Bradley family. Many mountains were surrounding a mysterious valley. One of those mountains had gold balls that were like twinkling stars hung on the flank. The flames of life were dancing inside those balls. Those balls were called life beads, which connected to the souls and the lives of the Bradley family's important experts. Wherever they were, if they died, their own life bead would extinguish. Each of the balls here had a small name tag that read the name of its owner. The flames inside the three life beads flickered and then extinguished. An old man with layers of dust on his body was a watchman of this place. He became frightened, flashed, and then disappeared. He reappeared in a secret chamber where only one quiet man sat. This man was the current chief of the Bradley, Byers. Byers was disturbed when he was cultivating to break the current realm and enter the immortal realm. "What happened?" asked Byers in a low-pitched voice. "Wright's, Cook's, and Jeremy's life beads are off. I'm afraid something bad has happened in Thunder Firmament star area," the old man stooped and answered. Byers' visage changed. A gleam of pain flashed in his eyes. He kept silent for a long time. "Wright is my cousin. He didn't want to go to Thunder Firmament star area that year because he knew that it was a poor place. If I hadn't forced him to go there, he wouldn't have been persistent." "Chief, please restrain your grief," the old man sighed slightly. "They wouldn't die in vain." Byers took a deep breath. His face turned malignant as he swung his arm. "Report to the Elder Committee." "I'm on it." Dash. Shortly after, the God Clan's Elder Committee received the news of Wright's, Cook's, and Jeremy's deaths. They knew that they'd lost Thunder Firmament star area too. It was no longer the God Clan's territory. The God Clan's forces based around there were frightened. The Heavenly King Carefree and Light also knew the news. On the God Zenith, Carefree wore a mocking face. He put the glass of wine on the jade table as he said, "Well, if you had listened to me and joined hands to tear the barrier of Thunder Firmament star area, they would have been all right." Earlier, Carefree had asked Heavenly King Light to join him to break the seal that DeCarlos had put on Thunder Firmament star area, but Light had denied him. At that time, Heavenly King Light was confident that Wright, Cook, and Jeremy could keep Thunder Firmament star area safe. They wouldn't let Sure Yin take any advantage. But now, he regretted it. Wright and the other two at Second Sky of Incipient God Realm were from the elite force of the Bradley family. They had lost 3 of them at the same time. Light felt a bad twinge in his chest. He wore a dark face and finished his bottle within one breath. He stood up and said, "You and I will take action now." Carefree chuckled. "When you and I join hands, I think we just need half a month to break the barrier between the star areas. As DeCarlos has built that barrier, he will be hurt when we break it." Carefree became sinister. If DeCarlos hadn't interfered, he would have killed Sure Yin already and taken 3 pieces of Bloodthirsty's remains. He wouldn't have lost Ouying Luo Shuang, and they wouldn't have had to bear so many troubles as they did right now. He now considered DeCarlos his enemy. Carefree had never had mercy for his enemies. DeCarlos has chosen the opposite side as us. It'll be his worst misfortune. I will make him pay for the 3 lives of my family's later generation, said Heavenly King Light. Thunder Firmament star area. The dried corpses of the God Clan warriors scattered around the heavenly lake. The beautiful and luxurious palaces were now in ruins. Blood puddled everywhere. Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Harmon were moving swiftly like shadows through the place to kill the last members of the God Clan in this area. As they had only Ethereal God Realm and Original God Realm, they didn't have the chance to escape under the attack of the 3 incipient God Realm experts. Also, Thunder Firmament star area was sealed, so all the teleport formations were deactivated. The God Warriors here couldn't escape their fatal fates. They recognized that times had changed. After 10,000 years, the Overlord position of the God Clan was now challenged. After killing the last God Warrior, Lei Dong took out a sound stone and licked his lips. "Tell the others that bloodthirsty forces master-killed Wright. All the God Clan warriors in Thunder Firmament Lake were killed. From now on, the remaining warriors of the God Clan in Thunder Firmament star area are our targets. We will all go out to kill them." At the same time, Jifeng and Harmon also took out the Soundstone and sent the news. Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Harmon were the leaders of the 3 strongest forces of Thunder Firmament star area. They had many dedicated and loyal subordinates. When the news spread out, the entire Thunder Firmament star area became boiling. Instantaneously, all the warriors of Thunder Firmament star area knew the commotion in the heavenly lake. They knew that the fate of Thunder Firmament star area changed now. Many warriors of the God Clan staying in the corner of the star area became prey, even though they were the hunters a moment ago. They became the targets of the warriors in the entire star area. The God Annihilation operation was carried out grumblingly in Thunder Firmament star area. Every day, every minute, the God Clan warriors were killed continuously. After they proactively sent the news, Lei Dong's soul consciousness checked around the area. He found many women with exposed clothes hiding in the corner and looking at the three of them in fright. Lei Dong looked at the beautiful women from different races that Wright had captured for years. He sighed and then talked to Ji Feng. Release them. They are from our star area. Pour them. Ji Feng nodded. Lei Dong flashed and then appeared by the heavenly lake. He looked at Shi Yin and became baffled. Shi Yin was hovering inside a blood mist. The pungent smell of blood swirled by him while his body emitted strange, crimson light. The energy fluctuations from his body were turbulent and violent like water breaking a dam. However, he looked so calm as his soul altar was operating in a unique principle. It looked like he had become one with the sea of stars. Lei Dong turned to look at him, and he felt like he was beholding the mysterious, immense universe. He suddenly had strange respect. He was shocked, but he understood it immediately. Confine the area. Allow no one to enter. The master is about to break through. We can't let anyone disturb him. Hearing him, Ji Feng and Herman were frightened. Ji Feng hurried to talk to those women in ragged clothes. Then, he and Harman gathered with Lei Dong by Shi Yin, arranging their barriers to protect Shi Yin. They were scared that Shi Yin could fail his breakthrough if someone disturbed him. As they'd reached the incipient God realm, they knew that every breakthrough in this realm was so dangerous. One mistake could lead to eternal damnation. Lei Dong was at second sky of incipient God realm. When he had broken to the second sky, he had almost perished. Thus, he understood this critical moment better than Ji Feng and Harman. They surrounded Shi Yin and gathered their powers to create different barriers like clouds, the flowers, and lightning net to defend. Each of them was created with powerful, pure energy. We should guard here and wait until he is broken through successfully, said Lei Dong. Ji Feng and Harman nodded in agreement. Dash. Deep inside the brilliant space basin, Decalers was floating. The magical, dazzling light shot out of his palms and created marvelous, complex formations moving around the space slits that overflowed towards Thunder Firmament star area. It required a constant supply of energy to maintain the seal in the entire star area. Although he had a profound realm, DeCarlos couldn't confine the entire star area in one attempt. Thus, during this time, he had to stay in the space slit and increase the energy of the seal in Thunder Firmament star area. All of a sudden, DeCarlos shivered. Billions of light beams projected from his pupils that looked like images from different spaces. He frowned and sighed. Carefree and Light have joined hands. I'm afraid that I can't maintain this seal for a long time. I can do it for half a month. I wonder if it will be enough. His line of sight crossed through many layers of spaces to watch Shi Yin. He couldn't help but give a forced smile. At this moment, Shi Yin was at the door to break through to second sky of incipient God realm. Even if he wanted to send him a message, it was impossible. He felt a little anxious and he frowned. I can forcefully interfere, but I can seize only half a month. That kid is breaking into second sky of incipient God realm. I wonder if it's enough to revive him? DeCarlos was so worried. He's the successor of that man. To ordinary warriors, it will take a long time to break through to second sky of incipient God realm, but it could be short to him, I suppose. I hope so. Master, Master. A voice called him and reverberated the message as if Shi Yin was in a dream. It was the voice of the ring spirit. After Ming Hao had sealed it, it couldn't contact Shi Yin since the connection between them was cut off. However, as Shi Yin was breaking through, his mind was so quiet. No one knew how it could seize the chance and find the way to contact him feebly. Help me lift the seal. He lied to you. He wants to replace you to be my master and the new master of the bloodthirsty force. You can't believe his words. Master, I've been with you for so many years. You know I've never hurt you. You should know. The ring spirit's voice was interrupted as if it was so tough to send its thoughts to Shi Yin. Anyway, it had chosen the opportunity when Shi Yin was breaking through. While breaking through to the new realm, the warrior shouldn't be disturbed because it could lead to terrible consequences. In the worst case, the warrior's soul could perish. As the ring spirit had seized this chance to talk to Shi Yin, if it wasn't reluctant, It sure had some evil thoughts. The ring spirit's call seemed to have an evil power that lingered in Shi Yan's brain and became louder and louder. Shi Yan's mind became troubled. Shi Yan closed his eyes and his breathing got harder. The circulation of his god power was stagnant in many spots inside his body. Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Harmon changed their faces. They suddenly knew that something was wrong. Their face became stern and heavy. Shi Yan's reaction clearly showed that he deviated while breaking through. It seemed like he was going to fall into bedevilment soon. This wasn't good at all. Chapter 1301. Self-freezing. Chapter 1301. Self-freezing _ The ring spirit's voice echoed in Shi Yan's brain like big stones that fell into a tranquil lake and raised ripples and big waves. It was a critical time to break through, but the ring spirit's call had distracted Shi Yan. He couldn't focus on breaking through the bottleneck of his realm. Jifeng, Lei Dong, and Herman looked at Shi Yan, their faces grave. However, they didn't know how to deal with it. What should we do now? Jifeng sounded worried. He got distracted, but it's in his mind. We can't help him. Otherwise, it will become worse. What should we do? If he dies in our Thunder Firmament star area, the bloodthirsty force's flame of rage will burn us down. I'm afraid we won't live better than when the God Clan ruled us. Herman forced a smile. He had thought further and deeper. Shi Yan was the new master of the bloodthirsty force and the brightest star in the vast sea of stars. He was the icon of the forces against the God Clan. If he died in Thunder Firmament star area, the warriors of Thunder Firmament star area would be drowned in the rage of Xian He, Ming Hao, and Frederick. Thunder Firmament star area couldn't bear any shockwave. Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Harmon had given up everything to come here to find hope for Thunder Firmament star area. They will never want to see desperation falling on Thunder Firmament star area because of their impulsive acts. Calm down. Lei Dong looked at Jifeng and Herman and shouted, "He's the new master of the bloodthirsty force and the successor of that legendary warrior. If he dies because of bedevilment while breaking through to the new realm, I think, he will never take the risk to break through here." Listening to him, Jifeng and Herman were touched. They thought that it was logical, so they could relax their minds a bit. Right? If Shi Yan wasn't so sure, why would he break through right after he had just killed Right's team? He didn't even notice them before he did that, though. If he wasn't so sure, how could he act impetuously like that? After considering that point, Jifeng and Herman took a deep breath to tranquilize their minds. They continued to observe and protect Shi Yan. They didn't know that Shi Yan was standing in the ring spirit sea of consciousness while letting his god power ancient tree transform. They didn't know that Shi Yan couldn't estimate the ring spirit and break Ming Hao's seal to bother him at a critical time. He could hear the ring spirit calling clearly, but he tried his best not to mind it. He knew that if the ring spirit came with a goodwill, it would never disturb him in such a moment. The ring spirit was like what Ming Hao had said. It had different thoughts. Shi Yan was sure that the ring spirit wanted to seize this opportunity to possess his soul and his body. If Shi Yan was the ring spirit, he would choose this moment to take action too, because there would be no chance better than now. While breaking through, the warrior had to concentrate wholeheartedly. A little distraction could result in a big change of the soul, or even the soul fracture. Although Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Herman were standing by him, they couldn't help him. They didn't know about the existence of the ring spirit, so they thought that the strange condition of his body was because of his breakthrough. In their eyes, Shi Yan's problems could only be solved by Shi Yan himself. "Master, help me break this seal. I will treat you wholeheartedly. I will help you kill him." The ring spirit screamed unceasingly and tried to guide his soul. Its voice ran directly into his mind and made him doubtful. If he was distracted, which would affect his body's transformation, he would be backfired by his own power. His body would explode tragically. Shi Yan panted, his body convulsed, and the god power in his body was stimulated. He was at a critical moment. At this moment, the ring spirit became more urgent and restless, as if it had just seen hope. Self-freezing. At the critical moment, Shi Yan's host soul sent a message through the space barriers to Grace Mainland. The crystal burying deep inside Grace mainland suddenly radiated beautifully. A cold flame flew out and flickered. Many glaciers on Grace mainland melted down instantly as if their cold energy was all drawn. The cold flame had crossed spaces and emerged in Yan's brains. The cold that was chilly to the bone expanded massively. Crack, crack. Instantly, Yan's body was confined in a thick layer of ice. The cold white mist diffused from him. Thunder Firmament Lake was directly affected. As the white mist expanded, the thick ice appeared at a speed that naked eyes could observe. After less than 1 minute, the entire Thunder Firmament Lake and the area around the palace had become a white world of bitter snow and ice. Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Herman became three ice sculptures. Their bodies were confined. Fear also froze on their faces. As they couldn't move, they could only use their souls to communicate. Too powerful. I'm afraid that only third sky of incipient God realm experts cultivating ice power Upanishad could release this kind of cold air current, said Jifeng. He doesn't cultivate the cold power, right? What's going on? Screamed Herman. This extremely cold energy comes from the heaven flame. He has fused with the origin, so he's the master of the ancient continent. This kind of cold energy comes from deep inside the ancient continent. As long as we don't wiggle and our soul altars aren't frozen, it will be okay. Just stay here and watch the change. This cold energy isn't aimed at us. That's why we still can endure it, explained Lei Dong. Then who is it aimed at? Jifeng was surprised. At him, said Lei Dong. But why? Jifeng and Harmon screamed. I don't know. I only know that he got in trouble while breaking through, but I don't know what kind of trouble it is. I think he can deal with it himself. What we should do is to stay and watch. We shouldn't disturb him, said Lei Dong. Jifeng and Herman were bewildered. However, they knew that Lei Dong had a wide knowledge, so they chose to believe him. They didn't release energy to break the ice layer covering them. They stood like that and waited in silence. While being imprisoned inside a thick chunk of ice like the ice mountain, Yan's body, blood, soul, and sea of consciousness had quieted down. The ring with complicated blood drawings was also frozen. Since the cold energy had seeped into the ring and attacked it, the ring's spirit couldn't send any message to Yan. It was also because Yan's soul and sea of consciousness were frozen. Time ticked by fast. After an unknown time, Yan was completely still. Jifeng, Herman, and Lei Dong gradually couldn't endure it anymore. The cold energy had begun to expand to their souls. They had to use the energy from the soul altar to break the ice on their bodies and free themselves. 3 days, Jifeng frowned. He doesn't have any commotion. His soul stops working and his aura couldn't be found. What do we do? Keep watching. Don't act rashly, answered Lei Dong. Jifeng and Herman exchanged reluctant looks. They continued to wait there and look at Yan standing still like a 10,000-year ice mountain. In the dark sea of stars, the stars twinkled and sent starlight to illuminate the frozen Thunder Firmament Lake. The starlight from deep in the universe was like the light of fireflies that flashed and got into the ice mountain. It was as if some force there was guiding it slowly towards Yan. This entire world had become a massive glacier. The lake and Yan were frozen, and it made a massive frozen area. The starlight moved very slowly inside the ice. The first dot of starlight had to move through a long distance to reach Yan's frozen body. Just like a small spark that ignited the fire, starlight bloomed out of the acupuncture points in his entire body like dazzling diamonds. At that moment, countless starlight dots in the lake rolled into streams and flowed towards Yan and disappeared into his body. At the same time, Jifeng, Herman, and Lei Dong got rid of the ice. Seeing this wonder, they were so thrilled. Thunder Firmament Lake is made of some mysterious heavenly rivers in outer space. This lake has the lightning and thunder power together with the star power. And that kind of power is rolling towards Yan. Lei Dong opened his eyes, his face frightened. He got some trouble, but I think he has figured out how to solve it. He exhaled in relief. Jifeng and Herman were also happy upon watching so many starlight streams reaching Yan and increasing his power. They closed their eyes to sense for a while. They had to nod in surprise that Shi Yan's soul was stable now. It meant that he had crossed the most dangerous phase. They knew now he needed time to compress his god power and clean the soul altar to sublimate his soul. The toughest moment was over. It was going to be pretty smooth for Shi Yan, and when he woke up, he was going to have reached second sky of incipient god realm. I know he will be all right, Lei Dong smiled then said. We can relax now before checking if our subordinates have finished all the members of the god clan here or not. They then took out the sound stone to contact their subordinates, their visages satisfied. The corner of the star area where mineral stars were connected. The members of the Qin family gathered, frowning and waiting. Why hasn't he come yet? Did he fool us? Chunrong frowned and whispered. While talking, he looked fearful as he checked the beautiful figure in white standing far from him. Ouyang Luo Shuang's beautiful but cold eyes glared at them, and she slightly knitting her eyebrows. No, he will definitely come. He needs something here, said Chenlei. The Qin family lived in a remote area in Thunder Firmament Star area where they were kept away from connecting to the other forces. At this moment, they hadn't known anything about the big commotions of Thunder Firmament Star area. Every day, they had to live in fear and wait anxiously to see if the God Clan will take revenge on them or not. The God Clan had scared them badly that now they had to live and wait in fear. We've bet everything. I hope we can win to keep the family going on. Chenrong forced a smile and sighed weakly. Don't worry. Our Qin family won't be obliterated. We will live well. I believe in him. He will definitely give us a new future, Chunlei comforted him. All the members of the Chen family had gathered and waited for the man who would bring them hope. Chapter 1302, A New Life. Chapter 1302, A New Life, Crack, crack. The thick ice in the heavenly lake cracked. Waves of fierce energy expanded from Shi Yan and exploded even the void. Billions of beams of light bloomed in the universe. At this moment, Shi Yan became a volcano that had just erupted after years of sleeping. That kind of energy fluctuation was fierce and abundant, and it made Lei Dong, Jifeng, and Harmon change their visages. Instinctively, they backed off and made some distance from them. Absolutely. This isn't the power that a second sky of incipient god realm expert could have. Moreover, he has just broken to the new realm. Ji Feng's face twitched as he had a sour countenance. He's worthy of his title of the new master of the bloodthirsty force. The power he now shows can compare to third sky of incipient god realm experts who have been in that realm for a long time. So scary. If he was like the warriors at the same dream, how could he kill right? Lei Dong smiled. When they were talking, the glacier over there exploded altogether with the space. However, after one piece of the space there exploded, it immediately recovered as if there was a hand smoothing them immediately. They didn't know that Shi Yan's commotion when he was breaking through had also cracked a corner of DeCarlo's seal and made him spend a huge amount of energy to fix it. He also cursed Shi Yan under his breath for his vandalism. Boom! Shi Yan walked out of the pile of broken ice and appeared directly in front of Lei Dong. He grinned. You did it well? If Lei Dong hadn't been calm enough to stop Jifeng and Harmon from acting rashly, Shi Yan would have had more trouble. The ring spirit wasn't someone Shi Yan could underestimate. If Jifeng and Harmon had used their soul consciousness to check, their souls would have been unguarded and the ring spirit could have possessed them quickly. It then could have used their bodies to attack Shi Yan and stop him from finishing his breakthrough. It could have even broken his soul altar. Lei Dong's calm state made Jifeng and Harmon stand and watch, letting him handle everything. He had successfully drawn the energy of the origin through his co-soul to freeze and seal himself. Then, his co-soul had guided the star energy to draw more energy from the sea of stars and used the devouring power Upanishad to gather the starlight that had successfully transformed his god power ancient tree. Shi Yan's soul consciousness checked his internal conditions, and he was so happy to see the god power ancient tree had become shiny with magnificent light sparkling from the branches and leaves. That light came out from his lower abdomen and connected with his veins to create a complete circuit. Today, The god power ancient tree in his body had grown twice and its branches had connected to his veins. When his thoughts changed, the god power surged massively and directly poured into his veins, merging with his blood and flesh. This kind of rising energy was almost tyrannical to him. The amount of his accumulated energy was much more than what the warriors at First Sky of Incipient God Realm had. The energy he took from Right and the other two had provided him with a lot of god power. The warriors at Second Sky of Incipient God Realm had their god power ancient tree connect with their veins direction. It allowed the god power to flood the veins instantly. This had doubled the attack speed. Touching his glabella, the radiant incipient extent arose in the middle of the sky. The stars in his incipient extent were like massive, dazzling diamonds. As soon as his thoughts changed, green trees and grass grew and bloomed with the mountains, rivers, and lakes. He could even create earthquakes and shift among the four seasons. His incipient extent had become closer to reality. The three power Upanishads in his soul altar had been blending with each other magically and harmoniously. As his realm increased, his three power Upanishads could change soon and make his incipient extent more real. This feeling was so clear. After reaching Second Sky of Incipient God Realm, he seemed to have found the right direction. The direction to reach the higher realm. The incipient extent was the key to doing that. Shi Yin understood it well. He vaguely knew that the incipient extent and the soul altar were related to breaking to the immortal realm. Sir, Lei Dong, Ji Feng, and Harmon bent their bodies slightly, their faces respectful. This kind of respect came deep from their souls. Until now, is there any god warrior remaining in Thunder Firmament Star Area? Asked Shi Yin. According to our subordinates' news, we found no living god clan warrior. This star area is clear for now, Lei Dong answered respectfully. Shi Yin nodded. Pondering for a while, he said, Thunder Firmament Star Area is temporarily sealed. The god clan can't cross the barrier to come here. Don't worry for the time being. I'm the god clan's target. They won't send the top experts. Don't you worry. I'll arrange it. My men will come after I leave to help you rebel against the god clan. He knew that Ming Hao, Xin He, and Frederick would never gift Thunder Firmament Star Area to the god clan. Once he could contact Ming Hao, the experts of the Bloodthirsty Force would come here. The subordinates he saw in the Bloodthirsty Force's Holy Land weren't all of them. They were the key members, and many of them had their own forces or organization. In addition, they had the mysterious forces that Ming Hao had controlled in the dark. Shi Yin believed that the real forces of the Bloodthirsty Force wouldn't be weaker than the God Clan by much. Counting the other independent forces like Heavenly Monster Tribe, the Immortal Demon Clan, the Thousand Fantasy Sect, the Broken Hall, and the Heaven River Temple, the Bloodthirsty Force wasn't in a bad situation in this war. Thank you, Master. We will go all out to counterattack the God Clan. Lei Dong sounded excited and determined. Shi Yin looked at him deeply in the eyes. You just remember it. Sir, is there anything you need us to do? We won't deny it. Ji Feng smiled, intervening. No need for now. If I need anything, I'll contact you. Shi Yin placed a finger on his mouth, looking at the void around and frowning. When he escaped the ice, the void had shattered altogether because of his breakthrough. However, all the cracks were closed shortly after. Shi Yin knew that the expert was still here, and he had used the incredibly supernatural power to mend the world here and continue to seal this star area. Precursor, are you still here? Shi Yin released his soul consciousness after thinking and sent it to the space crack. His wisps of soul consciousness had moved, but Shi Yin assumed that he wouldn't receive any reply. Thus, he decided to go. Suddenly, a wisp of soul consciousness came to him from a far void. You have around 25 days. After that, the seal in this star area will be deactivated. Heavenly King Light and Heavenly King Carefree will come. If you can't resurrect the immemorial Thunder Dragon, you will have to face them alone, then. Ming Hao, Xin He, and Frederick have declared war with the God Clan. The Great Star Area War has ignited. They won't be free to come here and find you. You should pray for yourself. Who are you? Shi Yin shook. A starlight beam flashed in his eyes and stretched towards that direction to scout. Ming Hao asked me to take care of you for a while. And as for who I am, you will know after you revive my old friend. The soul consciousness came to him and disappeared suddenly. Shi Yin found that his soul consciousness couldn't get into that space crack anymore. He knew that the other had closed it to prevent him from entering the space crack. As they both cultivated space power, Shi Yin knew that the other's realm was much more profound. Such a character was truly the top expert of the Sea of Stars. He could move freely between star areas. In this sort of expert's point of view, there was no distance worth their consideration in this world. After a thought, they could even cross the entire star area. Sir. Ji Feng called Shi Yin as he saw the person immerse into his thoughts, frowning and changing his countenances continuously. Shi Yin was awakened. He turned to the other three and said, "You guys should check the forces in Thunder Firmament star area and prepare for a war in the future." He rose one hand and pulled. A door appeared. After one step, he disappeared right in front of Harmon, Ji Feng, and Lei Dong. Then, he appeared by the peripheral area of Thunder Firmament star area and landed on the mineral star. Qin Rong, Qin Lei, and many members of the Qin family had their eyes brighten. They came close and looked at her with hope. Ouyang Luoshuang was still cold. Her bright eyes looked at him, but she said nothing. "Sir." Qin Lei called him, her face frightened. She seemed to be afraid of Shi Yin. "What?" Shi Yin asked indifferently. "You've agreed with us that you'll arrange a new place for our Qin family. I wonder." Qin Lei chose her words carefully. "Sir, as long as our Qin family stays here, right will come for us. They will obliterate our family. Sir, please help us and give us a beam of hope." Qin Rong bowed to him, looking at him and begging. To Qin Rong and the Qin family, right was a ruthless, massive mountain that they couldn't cross. As long as right was still in Thunder Firmament star area, they couldn't ease their minds. They would be scared every day. "Right." Shi Yin pouted his lips and looked at them oddly. "You Qin family don't communicate with the world out there?" We live in an isolated area. We've been living alone for many years." "Yeah, it's true that we rarely contact the people out there," Qin Rong answered honestly. "Right is dead. There's no God Clan warrior in Thunder Firmament star area now. If you don't believe me, you can call someone out there to check." Shi Yin frowned and said, "Today, there is no God Clan warrior in Thunder Firmament star area, your homeland. If you still want to leave, I will take you. Make up your mind." Listening to him, the Qin family members were baffled. Then, they burst out screaming and cheering. Shi Yin didn't mind their decision. He turned to Ouyang Luoshuang. "If you want to go back to Grace Mainland, I can take you there now. What do you think?" "I want to see what you want to do," Ouyang Luoshuang replied faintly. Shi Yin nodded and walked into a dark mine. He disappeared. Ouyang Luoshuang didn't hesitate and followed them. She also disappeared into the mine. Qin Rong closed his eyes and held a sound stone in his hand. He carefully contacted someone and asked, "Dino, I'm Qin Rong." "Yeah, we haven't contacted for around 100 years. How's it going in your place?" "Are you the chief of the Qin family? You're still alive." "Yeah, we haven't talked for 100 years. It's really good here. Very good indeed. The God Clan warriors are all dead now. We're going to rebuild our homes. How about you guys? Are you going to build your new life?" The friendly and good-willing laughter came from the sound stone, which was the joy of relief. All the members of the Qin family looked at the sound stone and listened to the voice that came out from the device. Then, people bustlingly smiled and hugged each other. Tears rolled down their cheeks as they were celebrating new lives to come. It was their new life, the new life of Thunder Firmament League, and the new life of an entire star area. Chapter 1303, Candid Counterpart. Chapter 1303, Candid Counterpart Unravel. The peripheral area of Thunder Firmament star area. The warriors of the Qin family were gathering by the mine with stacked oars, cheering and yelling excitedly. The mines in this area created by many mineral stars were connected to each other. Previously, they often released fierce lightning strikes that the Qin family didn't dare to come close to. In the past 1,000 years, they finally had the guts to come and check when the mines no longer projected lightning bolts. And then, they found the precious Wind Thunder Stone in those mines. The Wind Thunder Stone had helped the Qin family and the poor here become rich. The Qin family warriors had a positive source to cultivate. What's in there that attracted him? Chunrong looked at the mine and knitted his brows. I don't know. According to our family's records, it should be something marvelous. Chunlei relaxed and smiled. I think we don't need to abandon our homeland. Chunrong nodded and then ordered the others. We will stay here for the time being. After that master gets out, we will see what we should do. While the Qin family members were talking to each other, Shi Yin had entered deep into the mineral star and followed a spacious passage to the core of the planet. Ouyang Luo Shuang wore pure white clothes. She looked like a cold and elegant spirit, even though her makings were still cold and stern. Her clear eyes sometimes checked Shi Yin as if she had something in her mind. Many pieces of rock had wind howling and thunder grumbling along the passage. It was so incredible. Shortly after, Shi Yin paused, his face surprised. What happened? Ouyang Luo Shuang looked at the area ahead of them, furrowing her bold brows and asking. We're almost there. Squinting, Shi Yin rose one arm and pointed forward. That area was deep inside the mineral star with many caves and pieces of stone on the ground, including many chunks of wind thunder stone. The thunder and wind howling they heard came from those stones. The wind thunder stone stored the power of the wind and thunder and lightning. However, the small pieces weren't really valuable. As those pieces of stones weren't bigger than a fingernail, they weren't taken away. This place was the deepest area of this mine. If they wanted to go further, they had to dig up the way themselves. Shi Yin used his soul consciousness to check. He found no powerful life energy fluctuation or any kind of fierce energy around. However, he believed that the immemorial thunder dragon's body lay in there. As he got nothing from his senses, it meant that it was because of some barrier or restriction. He hadn't reached the area covered by the barriers and restrictions yet. Crack! Shi Yin placed his hand on the rock wall. The white, sharp light shot out from his fingertips. It was a space blade that could break anything. He thrust it into the rock wall. The hard rock was like metal, but it exploded easily like sand when the space blade stabbed into it. A new passage was created quickly, and it led deeper into the mine. The space blade moved further and made the passage more in-depth. Shi Yin retracted his hand and entered the new passage. His face darkened when he observed the surroundings. The divine light shot out from his eyes. Shortly after, he halted. At that moment, the arm-sized lightning beams like a long snake shot out from the stone passage. More than millions of flashes with deadly, scorching lightning bolts swarmed toward them. Boom, boom, boom. The dazzling white lightning covered Shi Yin and Ouyang Luo Shuang instantly. They felt so itchy that it could crack them crazy. Their bodies shook hard. Within several breaths, the white lightning had burned their clothes into ashes. The beams of white lightning whipped on Shi Yan's and Ouyang Luo Shuang's naked bodies and got through their skin to attack them. Those white lightning beams were cunning. They moved and wormed inside their veins, giving them sour pain that they couldn't resist. At this moment, Ouyang Luo Shuang's magnificent snow-white body was revealed utterly. She looked like a perfect white jade statue of a goddess. She looked flawless indeed. Her tender waist was so small while her thighs were slim and straight. Her breasts perked like a pair of snowy mountains. The beautiful curves of her neck were so obvious too. At the glimpse of the lightning attack, Shi Yin was so afraid that Ouyang Luo Shuang couldn't resist such an attack. He couldn't help but turn around to check her. He was bewildered, but his eyes were so hot. He gazed at Ouyang Luo Shuang's flawless body. He then went absent-minded as he had totally forgotten why he turned around to check her. He just beheld her body like that. Under his hot gaze, the naked woman was so embarrassed. She glared at her and scolded, "Bastard." Shi Yin smiled and said, "Oh, you can still curse. Those lightning strikes can't threaten you. I can ease my mind now." Even though he said so, his eyes were still lingering on that mesmerizing white body. Apparently, he didn't want to look away. He instinctively compared her body with the other women he used to have romantic times with. Then, he figured out that only Xia Xian Yang could compare to her. He complimented inwardly and took in her figure for a while more. Air, it's not that I want to peep on you. It's the right time and right place, right? You saw mine too. No offense. Just like Ouyang Luoshuang, Shi Yin was naked. His body had clear, lean muscles that showed his beautiful masculine features pretty clearly. Despicable. Ouyang Luoshuang glanced at him. Then, she had to look away immediately and she cursed again. Her heart suddenly beat frantically. It was the first time she saw a naked man. Shi Yin grinned evilly. It's a Candid counterpart. We're naked like newborn babies. This is how we used to be. The clothes that cover the body is a restriction of the mortal morality and etiquette. It's like we shackle ourselves. Actually, I think it's good to stay naked like this. Haha. Laughing loudly, he walked forward. The white, deadly lightning bolts that bombarded his body couldn't affect him much. Ouyang Luoshuang gritted her teeth, her clear eyes indignant. However, she now had a vibe in her heart that she couldn't explain. She looked at the passage Shi Yin was walking and was hesitant. She discreetly checked her naked body and then made up her mind. She pretended to be cool and calm, following him with her naked body. Ouyang Luoshuang used her cold moonlight to protect her body from more lightning beams. Her entire body was snow-white like a moon spirit gliding on the passage. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, more thunder echoes came from the section ahead of them. The rumbling thunder was like a club pounding on their chests and sea of consciousness. Ouyang Luoshuang's body shook. Her ample breasts bounced. She couldn't help but scream in agony, her face pale. She stooped to look at the ground under her feet. Under her feet, the ground looked swollen as if it had pus inside. The thunder came whenever the ground throbbed. The grumbling thunder was specifically aimed at the soul and the sea of consciousness. She stopped moving and urged her power Upanishad to increase her energy protecting her body. The cold moonlight beams emitted from her elegant body like a transparent silk cloak that shrouded her curves. However, the moonlight protection was pure and crystal clear. It couldn't hide her perfect body. Although she was still naked, she was now not afraid of the lightning and thunder attacking her heart anymore. She lifted her head to look and found that Shi Yin disappeared from her sight. She tried to walk forward and found that after several steps, the power of the grumbling thunder increased. It meant that the deeper she went, the stronger the deadly lightning attack was. Her visage changed as she guessed that Shi Yan's level of power was higher than hers. Pondering for a while, she gritted her white teeth and gathered her god power. She then turned into a cold moonlight flow and shot forward. It's here, Shi Yin mumbled while touching the rock wall. That rock wall had a wonderful silver hue, as if it was consolidated from water with the dazzling light. Shi Yin could see thick electric beams moving inside the rock. There were so many, and they were complicated like the Venus system in the human body. They were everywhere in the stone wall, and they were moving strangely. After Ouyang Luoshuang arrived, she had to halt as her soft body was shocked hard. She had to hold her milky chest, her eyes showing her pain. The power of the deadly lightning here had surpassed her endurance. Her heart throbbed as if it was about to explode with the grumbling thunder. She had to spend more of her pure energy to protect her heart. Shi Yin stopped muttering, and he turned his head to look at her. He watched the white fluid seep through the gaps between her fingers as he said, "You're impulsive. The lightning power here isn't something you can endure. You can't stand it for a long time." Ouyang Luoshuang's cold and bright eyes just looked at him harshly. She wasn't free to answer. Her energy and spirit were used to resist the lightning here. She couldn't spend extra energy to talk. "I could never know what you women think." Shi Yin shook his head and opened his mouth to spurt out of a star that carried his vitality. The star then fell on the beautiful breasts Ouyang Luoshuang's hands were protecting. It covered her milky breasts like a chest plate. After the star covered her heart, the deadly lightning and thunder that were pressing Ouyang Luoshuang disappeared into thin air. Feeling the warm energy from the star on her bosom, her heart that had just stabilized now throbbed strangely. However, it wasn't because of the lightning and thunder this time. Her beautiful eyes became so strange. Her cold face blushed. She stooped as if she was frightened to see Shi Yan's majestic, naked body. Shi Yin didn't recognize her strange behavior. He became focused, and he touched the glabella. The soul altar spun fiercely. Countless fine space blades flew out of his incipient extent like magical carving knives in the hands of an excellent craftsman. They were used to clear this area. After the cracking sounds and the small pieces of stones flew out from the wall, they disappeared into the small space slits instantly. Shi Yin was highly focused and careful. He had to ensure that the sharp blades would not touch the remains of the dragons while cutting off the rock layer. He felt lucky that he hadn't come to this area rashly and decided to recover his god power first. Killing Right's force, he had reached second sky of incipient god realm, and he could use the god power better to dig up the immemorial thunder dragon's remains. Shi Yin was sure that if he had taken action impulsively at that time, the layers of deadly lightning beams here would force him to back off, and he would never have been able to cut off the rock here skillfully to discover the dragon's remains. Stabilizing his mind and spirit and using the power Upanishad, Shi Yin had controlled the space blades subtly. Ouying Luo Shuang clutched her chest and watched him silently. Her eyes were still filled with confusion, and she was still shivering. Chapter 1304, Human Nature. Chapter 1304, Human Nature _ Crack. Crack. The massive mine created by several mineral stars could be compared to a small-sized life star, but its volume wasn't small and its weight could be even heavier than a big life star. Explosions and shattering sounds became thicker. The members of the Qin family were frightened. Looking at the mine with earth-shaking commotions, they were guessing what was going in there. Retreat. Retreat. All of you. Qin Rong and Qin Lei shouted and asked the Qin family warriors to leave the mine. They discolored and instinctively moved away. While they were retreating, the commotion inside the mine became scarier. They could see many big rocks explode and shoot up into the sky before disappearing bizarrely. They were so frightened. However, when they looked at the mine created by several mineral stars, they found that it was shrinking. Looking carefully, they recognized that it wasn't the mine was shrinking. It was because many big rocks on the mine were disappearing. It was like a fat man had his fat drawn away rapidly, so he became lanky. Evidently, it was so strange. Everything was beyond their knowledge. They didn't know the reason, so they could only run away fast to not get involved. They were afraid that they would disappear mysteriously like those rocks. Shortly after, the massive mine shrunk. Now, it was only 1/3 of its original size. They saw many fine space slits drawing the rocks into them and disappear. The warriors of the Qin family. Get 100 miles away. Shi Yan's voice arose with power that the others couldn't deny. Qin Rong was bewildered and hesitating. Chief, I think there's a precious treasure. They're about to dig it up. That mine belongs to our Qin family. He asked us to leave to claim that treasure alone. A greedy old man of the Qin family couldn't help but hiss. His eyes thirstily looked at the mine. Listening to him, more and more members of the Qin family had their hearts beat frantically. They became excited when they looked at the mine. It was human nature. When their lives were threatened, they wanted to live, so they only think about their lives. However, once they were sure that their lives are secure, an evil thought rose in their mind. Many warriors of the Qin family, though that the others were digging some treasure in their mine. They thought that treasure should belong to the Qin family. Qin Rong hesitated and debated on whether to leave or to stay and bargain with Shi Yin to have a share of the treasure. At least, he has to give us a bowl of soup, right? He thought instinctively. He knew Right and the entire God Clan warriors here were killed, but he didn't know that Shi Yin did that. Shi Yin had only first sky of incipient God realm, and he had never told them his real position. Also, the Qin family didn't have a lot of communication with the world outside, so he guessed that someone else had killed Right. Thus, he wasn't really afraid of Shi Yin. When his life wasn't threatened and he was greedy for treasure, such enticement made him not recognize his position. Retreat. Qinlei hissed. The scar on her cheek twisted. She looked worried and hurried. She knew the situation better than Qin Rong and her eyes were much sharper. She knew Shi Yan's intimidation. Listen to him, or else we will receive a deadly disaster. That treasure should belong to our Chun family. We should at least know what it is. We should at least have a share of it, right? The man who had triggered the crowd talked again. He looked at Qinlei with cold eyes. Do you like him? Don't ever think about it. With your appearance, it's impossible. Listening to him, Qinlei felt so cold. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. Uncle Hong, how dare you say that? Chun Hong was at second sky of ethereal god realm. He was an important warrior in the Chen family too. With a cold and stiff face, he said, Isn't it true? If you don't like him, why are you protecting him? Why don't you think about our family's welfare? You brought him here, didn't you? Many warriors of the Chen family were surprised. They then looked at Qinlei. Except for the warriors who had followed Qinlei for years, the mine slaves and the other warriors of the Chen family looked at her doubtfully, their faces dark. They doubted Qinlei that she had found the treasure when she had managed this mining area. They thought that Qinlei had used this massive treasure to pay for Shi Yan's service of killing the God Clan warriors here. Qinlei looked at their countenances. She felt so down. Eventually, she looked at Qinrong. There are some people we can't ever offend. For our Qin family, I hope you will think more carefully. I know, Qinrong frowned at her. We will just watch from a far distance. We want to see what kind of treasure it is. I think we can try for something. It's good if we can get it. Qinrong's eyes sparkled. It should belong to our Qin family. Even if he's more overbearing, he should give us some soup, right? Chun Hong licked his lips. Qinlei was desperate. She wasn't a fool. She could see Qinrong's greed. As they weren't threatened from the God Clan anymore, Qinrong wanted to show off his power. The big treasure, there was also a big chance to him. Whoever believes me, come with me now, she sighed and left with a desperate countenance. Many mine slaves and the guards under her commands followed her silently. Qinrong and the other members of the Qin family retreated a little and continued watching the mine. They didn't listen to Shi Yan's order to retreat 100 miles away. Chief, Chun Hong looked at the place with greed. When the great treasure appears, it will come with a great phenomenon. That man has just first sky of incipient God realm. It will take a lot of energy from him to activate the treasure. Should we? Shut up, Qinrong hissed. Chun Hong looked at him. He was moved, but he just nodded and said nothing. He got his calculation. Boom, boom, boom. The mine still had earth-shaking commotions. Gradually, many clouds came from the faraway area, hovering above the mine. Lightning flashed and thunder echoed inside the clouds. Lightning bolts shot out of the mine and stirred up the entire area. In the flashes of lightning and the echoing thunder, a gigantic silver dragon skeleton arose. A thick layer of wind thunder stone covered this skeleton. They then fell off the dragon's body. Shi Yan and Ouyang Luo Shuang appeared in the dazzling light, so the others couldn't see them. They continuously changed their positions above the silver dragon skeleton as if they were surveying something. It is, Chun Hong stammered as he was so shocked by the massive skeleton. That skeleton belongs to a level 13 beast. Oh gosh, the lightning and thunder energy from it is so earth-shaking. It's a real treasure. An incredible treasure, screamed a warrior of the Qin family. Sir, Chun Hong looked at Qinrong, his eyes showing his greed. Qinrong's heart beat frantically as his eyes were fixed on the immemorial Thunder Dragon's remains. Sir, we've been guarding this place for several thousand years. That mine belongs to our Qin family. Please consider our harsh living situation for many years and give us a bit of that skeleton. We will appreciate your good deeds a lot. Shi Yan was astounded in the light. He looked at Qinrong from a far distance and frowned. I told you guys to retreat 100 miles away. Didn't you hear me? It's our Chun family's territory. Why can't we stay here to investigate from the beginning? Shouted Qin Hong. Shi Yan was so surprised. He looked at the man from a distance and talked oddly. Oh, it turns out you're greedy for treasures. How ridiculous. You're just a bunch of ants that had to struggle to survive. And now you're so greedy that you want to steal the elephant's food. Haha. As soon as he finished, a moonlight shot out from Ouyang Luo Shuang's light and fell on Qin Hong like a meteor. Immediately, Qin Hong shattered like glass powder. His body exploded so quickly that he could not even register that he was dying. Chun Rong was shocked. He was awakened quickly and he screamed, "We will go now." He had never thought that the others would be so cruel. He thought that he could bargain for something because the others would have spent a lot of energy already, so it was a chance to see something. But he regretted it now. "I'm going to clean this mess for you. Just focus on your work," Ouyang Luo Shuang said, and then flew away. Instantly, the moonlight beams shot out like a shower of arrows. The remaining Chun family warriors exploded shortly after. Shi Yin just felt that it was ridiculous. He didn't even bat an eye on the Qin family member as he said deliberately, "Then thank you. I don't need to distract my mind then." Then, he continued to use his energy and cut off the rock on the immemorial Thunder Dragon's body to reveal it completely. "We were so wrong. We know that we were wrong. We beg for your mercy." Chun Rong screamed as if he could even tear his intestines and begged. At this moment, he knew that he would never have sharp eyes like his sister Chenlei. He knew that he was so wrong this time. Unfortunately, Shi Yin didn't mind and Ouyang Luo Shuang wasn't going to stop her slaughter. In her eyes, the Chun family's deed was so low. She had to kill all of those greedy, despicable warriors to clear her mind and purify her mood. Thus, Chen Rong's group had to die. In a pretty far area, Chen Lei and a group of warriors in shabby clothes looked at them and the moonlighting shooting like arrows. Although she was so mournful, she said through her gritted teeth, "No one's allowed to get there." "Madam Lei," screamed a guard. "Please, I'm begging you. Please stay to hold on to the Chun family's bloodline. Don't go there to die." Chun Lei clutched her chest. "It's they who seeks death. I told them those weren't warriors we could provoke. They didn't listen to me. Their fate was determined by their greed." Listening to her, the warriors on her side quieted down. They also knew that Qin Rong and Qin Hong weren't nice people before they were enslaved by the God Clan. Living under the God Clan's subjugation, they had to turn more honest. However, as soon as the God Clan's threat was gone, their nature came back. They did the same things they used to do. However, the one they had encountered this time was even more brutal and heartless than the God Clan. Thus, their dramatic fate was sealed. Chapter 1305, Thunder Dragon Skeleton. Chapter 1305, Thunder Dragon Skeleton. Shortly after, Chen Rong and the Chen family warriors who decided to stay were all killed. No one was left alive. After many years, Ouyang Luo Shuang had experienced many dangers and adversities. Her heart went numb. She didn't have mercy when she wanted to kill people. As she looked so skillful and determined, it wasn't the first time she acted so. The Qin family warriors had low realms, so there wasn't that much energy that Shi Yin could gather after they died. Shi Yin didn't even want to distract his mind to collect this amount of energy. He just released his bloody shield that then turned into a massive crimson mouth that drew those wisps of energy. After that, the mysterious drawings on the shield became clearer. After he could use the bloody shield, it connected directly to his blood veins. With only one thought, the blood shield could become the armor that covered his body. This bloody shield still had room to grow. The more energy it accumulated, the stronger the armor could be. The energy from the Qin family warriors could strengthen it a little bit. Ouyang Luo Shuang's cold and bright eyes looked at the shield. She looked a little shaken. The blood clusters of clouds on the bloody shield were so manifest. As the energy from the Qin family warriors moved, the clusters of cloud moved like stars in the sky and released immense blood light. Looking at the blood light for a while, Ouyang Luo Shuang suddenly felt angry and restless. Her soul seemed to sink into the blood sleet, which increased her desire to kill. That desire became so fierce. Her bright and clear eyes turned crimson. "Stop!" Suddenly, a thundering sound echoed in her sea of consciousness like God's voice that shattered the desire in her mind. She regained her consciousness. Then, she didn't dare to look at that blood shield more. With fear in her heart, she urged the soul altar to use the cold energy to wash her mind and stabilize her soul and God energy. At the same moment, the blood shield turned into a beam of blood that disappeared into Shi Yan's head through his glabella. Shi Yin floated above the skull of the immemorial thunder dragon skeleton, his face grave. His eyes were so bright when he focused on observing. Underneath his body was the 30,000-meter-long skeleton of the immemorial thunder dragon that didn't have any piece of skin or flesh. There were only shining silver bones. This skeleton was so massive that it could compare to an asteroid in the universe. The lightning beams on this frame were so deadly and terrifying. After observing, he found dozens of cracks and cuts on the bones as if it was cut and chopped. Some cuts were very deep. Shi Yin was sure that the immemorial thunder dragon had experienced the most fierce battle of his life before he died. That battle had wounded the dragon's body severely, which had even extracted his soul and divided it into many beams and scorching lightning beams by the star barriers of Thunder Firmament star area. Since his soul and body were apart, he couldn't revive after so many years. A wisp of soul consciousness made a twinkling, massive hand in the void that pushed on the skull of the immemorial thunder dragon skeleton. In that short moment, lightning bolts and flashes like electric clubs shot toward Shi Yan's soul along the hand created by his god power. Boom, boom, boom. Thunder boomed in Shi Yan's head. His body felt like he had just gotten hit from many massive hammers and shook several times. A trickle of blood dripped on the corner of Shi Yan's mouth. He just wiped it away, and his face didn't change as he urged the demon blood to cure his wound. Squinting to think for a few seconds, Shi Yin was startled when he came to the conclusion that this dragon had reached the immortal realm when he was still alive. Otherwise, he couldn't hurt Shi Yan's tough body with only a remnant of energy in the skeleton. Only an existence at the immortal realm could retain such terrifying energy in his remains and be so formidable even his soul was scattered away. Only an immortal realm expert could do that. An existence at the immortal realm. One of the ancestors of the heavenly monster tribe. Yeah, it's our destiny. Shi Yin wasn't frightened. Instead, he felt lucky and happy. He grinned, his face excited. He had the origin of Grace Mainland, and heavenly monster tribe considered Grace Mainland as their ancestral land. In other words, they were Shi Yan's citizens. Even the holy beast Azure Dragon had to yield for the welfare of his tribe. He couldn't act as he wanted. When this immemorial thunder dragon revived, he would have only one choice, which was to take the same path as Shi Yin. Would he be a sharp spear in his hand? As Shi Yin understood it clearly, he became more enthusiastic. He smiled while urging the power Upanishad and used the space energy to create layers of cages to contain the immemorial thunder dragon skeleton. Then, he faced the sky and roared, activating the energy in his entire body. The starlight bloomed fiercely from him and created endless power instantly. The 30,000-meter-long thunder dragon's body made crack-crack sounds and then slowly moved towards the star area barrier like a gigantic battleship. Shi Yin sat cross-legged on the immemorial thunder dragon's skull, squinting and smiling. Hesitating, Ouyang Luo Shuang turned into a clear moonlight beam and followed the immemorial thunder dragon at a normal pace, approaching the fearsome, massive dragon tail. From a distance, Qin and the other members of the Qin family looked bitter and sorrowful. They sighed as they were distressed. They didn't get along well with Chunrong's team, so they didn't live in the main star of the Qin family. Instead, they had based on the mineral star. However, they were still from the same family. They were so upset and dispirited when Chenrong's team was killed. Especially Chunlei. She was Chenrong's younger sister by blood. Even though she knew Chenrong was despicable and callous, he always took care of her very well. She touched the long scar on her face, her eyes miserable. She sighed, "I didn't blame you for making this scar on my face. I knew it clearly. I know because of this scar I can live until now. But you shouldn't be impulsively greedy. I'm afraid I can't take revenge for you." The guards and the members of the Qin family, by her, had a close relationship with the ones who were killed. Many of them didn't have the same thoughts as Qinlei. Some of them still thought about retaliating. However, they didn't dare to show it out and tried to hold it in their minds. Madam Lei, what is that?" A lanky teenager suddenly pointed, shaking and stammering. The teenager couldn't help but retreat. His face paled. The hem of his shabby clothes fluttered like anxiety in his heart. Everybody looked as he pointed. They discolored in fright. Deep desperation appeared in their eyes, while chills were sent down their spines. A massive silver dragon skeleton, bigger than any battleship they knew, with lightning flashing and thunder booming, slowly approached them in layers of dark clouds and mist. A prestige from the chaotic, primal times swarmed over and filled each corner of this area. It subdued every creature. Sitting on the skull of the dragon was a stern and majestic figure like a mountain. He had the makings of the Lord of the Stars. Naturally, people felt subdued and didn't have the will or thought of rebelling. Looking at the figure sitting on the dragon's head, Qin and the remaining warriors of the Qin family felt so bitter. They all wore desperate, reluctant faces. They suddenly understood that they would never have the power to take revenge on this man. While they were glumly sighing, the gigantic dragon skeleton stopped by. Shi Yan's line of sight fell on Qin like a meteor. He said indifferently, "The greedy ones who dared to scheme against me have gone one step ahead. It's not your fault, I understand. I kept my words of what I've agreed with you." Pausing for a while, he frowned. "Do you want to leave here or rebuild the Qin family? Have you made up your mind yet?" Qin was surprised. She thinned her lips and pondered for a long time. Then, she said softly, "I want to stay and rebuild the Qin family. We don't want to abandon our homeland. We don't want to start all over again in a star area we don't belong in." "I highly appreciate your choice." Then, a massive hand made of the stars suddenly got through a vortex in the sky, pulling and twisting in there. Shortly after, the massive hand forcefully grabbed a lot of items and took them out of the vortex. The hand then unfolded above Qin head. Instantly, many precious crystals, excellent sets of armor, fragrant pellets, and sharp weapons fell from that massive star hand. Many of those cultivating materials, armor, or pellets were at the divine grade level. Qin and her warriors became dumbstruck. Those things came from Thunder Firmament Lake. After I killed Right, they've become unowned. Since you've cooperated with me well, I bestow these things to you. I hope it will help you strengthen the Qin family." Shi Yan looked at her and pondered for a while. "You are more suitable to become the head of the Qin family than your brother Qinrong. With his characteristics and vision, even if he had those items, he would never be able to give a new, brighter future to the Qin family. You can do that. Don't fail me. I hope that when we meet again, the Qin family will become the #1 force in Thunder Firmament Star area." Afterward, the immemorial Thunder Dragon rolled one more time and went to the barrier inside the layers of dark clouds and mist, heading to Shi Yan's bright and magnificent future. Soul Reviving Pellet Level 5 Divine Grade. Spirit Jade Divine Grade Level 6. Gosh, he gave us all the good stuff. He killed Right. He killed Right. Oh my God, Qinrong and Qinhong were crazy. They dared to scheme against them. They deserved it. Bad sight. Why did they have to provoke them? They went against the god of slaughter. Right had collected all the treasures of the star area. And now, we got half of them. Our Qin family has a future now. Hey, this is the 10,000 flower congregated essence dew. It can erase all kinds of scars. A guard of the Qin family carefully gave Qin a jade bottle and said excitedly, "Madam Lei, this 10,000 flower congregated essence dew can recover your beautiful face. Madam Lei used to be the most beautiful lady of our Qin family. With this, Madam Lei will never be upset because of your appearance anymore." However, Qin ignored him. Her eyes fixed on the direction the immemorial Thunder Dragon had disappeared. She kept silent for a long time. Madam Lei, the guard kept calling her. After a long time, Qin took a deep breath and mumbled to herself before talking to her warriors. "From now on, I'm the master of the Qin family. I will give you guys and the Qin family a whole new future. The Qin family will definitely become one of the strongest force in Thunder Firmament Star area." Chapter 1306. Ignite the Flame of Life. Chapter 1306. Ignite the Flame of Life, by the star area barrier. The clusters of lightning gathered and squeaked strangely. The massive immemorial thunder dragon skeleton released a bright silver halo, lying by the barrier like a bone mountain. It looked majestic and imposing. Shi Yin sat cross-legged on the dragon's skull, his face grave. His soul consciousness moved continuously to circulate the life power Upanishad to guide the thunder dragon's scattered wisps of souls returning to its skull. However, no matter how hard he had used the life power Upanishad or the other powers he couldn't do anything to the thunder dragon's scattered soul. He had used the life power Upanishad as the foundation and his immortal demon blood as the conductor to guide those sticky wisps. However, as soon as he touched the wisps of the thunder dragon's soul, his soul altar shook as if it was about to explode. The immemorial thunder dragon's soul had defended itself instinctively. Although its consciousness hadn't gathered yet and couldn't use even 1/10 of its real power, it was still very terrifying. It wasn't something that Shi Yin could test. As the life power Upanishad failed, Shi Yin tore the space and used the streamer band as the conductor to gather the wisps. It didn't work. After many failed trials, all the methods that Shi Yin knew didn't work. It was really tough to resurrect the immemorial thunder dragon. Shi Yin frowned and thought, "You want to revive this beast?" Ouyang Luo Shuang's cold voice interrupted his thought. She had followed him quietly and just observed. She didn't talk much. When Shi Yin was begrudgingly distressed because of his failure, she spoke eventually. "Perhaps your approach isn't correct." "Wrong approach?" Shi Yin frowned. He turned to her and said, "What's your opinion?" "Recently, I've been wandering around the universe. I've heard a lot of the secrets of the 4 great clans. This beast is obviously the ancestor of heavenly monster tribe. Since his soul and body had been separated for a long time, normal methods couldn't work. Why don't you try another force? The origin power, for example." Her voice was calm like water as she explained to Shi Yin. "It seems like you know a lot of great things." Shi Yin was moved. "My teacher used to tell me many things. If you fused with Grace Mainland's origin, you should use it." Her face was indifferent. "Heavenly Monster Tribe was born in our homeland. I'm sure there's a subtle connection between them and the origin. If your host soul can't do anything, I bet the co-soul can do something." "Sounds logical." Shi Yin nodded and closed his eyes like an old monk meditating. Ouyang Luo Shuang's reminder gave Shi Yin a new idea. His host soul stayed in this area while his soul consciousness had crossed spaces to reach Grace Mainland. Deep inside Grace Mainland was a magnificent crystal buried. A 5-colored flame flew out quietly. That flame suddenly transformed into Shi Yin's image, flashed, and disappeared. A valley inside the heavenly monster mountain range. Holy beast Azure Dragon was dormant inside a mountain that had hundreds of deep caves. Earth and heaven energy filled the caves. Azure Dragon was inhaling and exhaling the spirit energy from the surrounding sea area to refine his skeleton and internal organs, increasing his power. Ghost Hunter was squatting in front of a cave in his monster body. The energy fluctuating from him was incredibly fierce as his blood was like boiling water. Shi Yan's phantom appeared in the valley. Instantly, the flows of earth and heaven energy stopped circulating. Ghost Hunter was shaken while cultivating. Then, Ghost Hunter transformed into his humanoid body, a cold and stern young man. He walked to Shi Yin, his eyes emitting a strange halo. He looked at the phantom, bowed to him and calling, "Shi Yin." Shi Yin looked at him. He couldn't help but frown. "What is the relationship between you and me in the future?" At first glance, Shi Yin knew that Ghost Hunter's level was incredible now. This phantom of his was created by the flaming origin, so he could understand everything deeply on this land. Shi Yin could clearly see that Ghost Hunter had reached the intermediate phase of level 13, which was similar to him at Second Sky of Incipient God Realm. While he didn't notice, Ghost Hunter had reached an extremely terrifying level. He was moved when he recalled what Ming Hao had said when they were in the Blood Sea. Ghost Hunter was the mixed blood of Heavenly Monster Tribe, Imperial Dark Tribe, and the Immortal Demon Clan. He was a unique existence that was the closest to Bloodthirsty's bloodline in this vast sea of stars. When they met in the past, Ghost Hunter had addressed Shi Yin as Master, but this time, he called Shi Yin by his name. Yin wanted to know what he meant when he did that. Ghost Hunter had turned into a stern and cold young man who was somehow about 60% similar to Yin. Ghost Hunter contemplated for a while, his eyes dark and deep. Holy Ancestor promised that I would become the leader of Heavenly Monster Tribe in the future. I can't insult this identity. I can never be someone's servant or subordinate anymore. Yin's eyes flashed as he looked at a cave where Azure Dragon was transforming into his humanoid figure. Azure Dragon said with a stern expression, Ghost Hunter has the most magical blood in this world running in his body. He will replace Zhang Yun to be the next leader of Heavenly Monster Tribe after me. As the new leader of Heavenly Monster Tribe, he is no longer your mount. I have never considered him my mount. Yin wore a serious face and said to Ghost Hunter, until now, I have always treated you as my friend, and that will never change. Ghost Hunter's eyes showed a strange emotion. He bent his body slightly and spoke with his head low. Although we're not master and servant anymore, we will become the most loyal friends, as you said. We are friends. Yes, we were, and we will always be. He turned to Holy Beast Azure Dragon and said coldly, You can't interfere with my decision. Azure Dragon was stunned. He then just shook his head and sighed inwardly. He had never thought that after trying so hard, Ghost Hunter would still be loyal to Yin. This kind of bond that had been formed and carved deeply in the bone, and it wasn't something that could be washed away with time. Azure Dragon pondered for a few seconds and then smiled tenderly. He's the one with the origin of our ancestral land. We won't have any dispute with him later. Quite the contrary, his strength is the grace of the entire Heavenly Monster Tribe. Of course, you are his company or his friend. Unless he dies, this relationship will not change. It's the arrangement of fate. Yin looked at Ghost Hunter and smiled at him. He then turned to talk to Azure Dragon. I'm here for a reason. I found the skeleton and the scattered soul of the immemorial Thunder Dragon in Thunder Firmament Star area. Someone wants me to resurrect him. I tried, but I couldn't find the secret to doing so. As you're the holy ancestor of Heavenly Monster Tribe, do you know how to revive the immemorial Thunder Dragon? My body is still there. It's a rushed matter. If you know how, tell me right now. The immemorial Thunder Dragon was the ancestor of Heavenly Monster Tribe at the Immortal realm. Azure Dragon and precursors of Heavenly Monster Tribe had spent so much time and energy to find him. Of course, they wanted to help Yin to resurrect the dragon. Indeed, Azure Dragon was so happy when he listened to Yin. You found him. You found him. How do I revive him? Yin interrupted his joy. Use the origin. Azure Dragon said resolutely and excitedly. He was like me. We were born in the ancestral land. The origin had ignited our flame of life. You have the origin of our ancestral land and the life power Upanishad. After you ignite his soul flame, his soul will gather itself automatically. You don't need to interfere with the next step. He will get up soon. How do I ignite his soul flame? Yin sounded so surprised. I have never fused with the origin of the ancient continent. How could I know that? The saying of igniting the soul flame came from the other two. With the origin, I think you have more or less of their memories. You have to figure it out yourself. I can't direct you in this matter because I don't understand the power and mysteries of the origin, said Azure Dragon begrudgingly. Ignite the soul flame. Ignite the soul flame? Yin mumbled. He furrowed his brows and thought for a while before nodding to Azure Dragon and Ghost Hunter. This soul of mine will leave Grace Mainland for a while. If someone invades the continent when I'm not here, please take care of it. Of course, said Azure Dragon arrogantly. Yin didn't talk more. His phantom faded and vanished. At the same time, his real body in the far-away from Thunder Firmament Star area opened his eyes. He muttered, Ignite the soul flame. He looked at the wisps of the Thunder Dragon's soul. A blurry shadow became clear in his pupils, and he sat on the soul altar together with his host soul. The clusters of heaven flames in the co-soul flew out of Yin's eyes and turned into flaming lights that headed toward the star area barrier where there were the wisps of immemorial Thunder Dragon soul. When the heaven flames found them, they released different powers. After several fusions, Shi Yin had 4 types of heaven flames, including the combination of the world-extinguishing thunder flame, the 9 serenity soul-devouring flame, and the cold ice flame, the combination of the earth flame, the true purgatory flame, and the vermilion bird true flame, and the combination of the immemorial demonic flame, the Een spirit ghost flame, and the corpse vanishing flame. The last flame that hadn't fused with the others was the primal chaos sacred flame. The 3 combined flames had turned into clusters of fire that moved around the wisps of the immemorial thunder dragon soul and tried to connect them. But they failed. However, when the primal chaos scared flame touched them, the wisps of soul shivered hard. Primal chaos sacred flame, the flame that was naturally formed at the dawn of the continent. It's a strong form of existence like immemorial lives. It can cultivate itself, create lives, and even resurrect the dead by igniting the flame of life. It ranks first. Shi Yin suddenly recalled the primal chaos sacred flame's definition. The primal chaos sacred flame was the flame that could resurrect the dead by igniting their flame of life. Shi Yin found the right direction all of a sudden. His mind flickered to have the other 3 combinations of flames retreat. His soul power gushed out and poured into the primal chaos sacred flame. The origin from the co-soul filled the primal chaos sacred flame like seawater to strengthen it. Then, the primal chaos sacred flame covered the scattered wisps of the immemorial thunder dragon soul. Shriek, shriek, shriek. The immemorial thunder dragon's soul screamed strangely. The wisps that had been separated from each other for a long time revived and glowed with the new life that the primal chaos sacred flame had given them. Some flames appeared by the area of the separated wisps of soul. They were the flames of life. At the same time, the life and mechanical energy came out from the thunder dragon. The electric beams shot out and covered the skeleton. Then, the earth and heaven energy in thunder firmament star area rolled torrentially towards the immemorial thunder dragon. All of a sudden, flesh and blood started to grow on the dragon's skeleton. After the immemorial thunder dragon's flame of life was ignited, he was instinctively reviving himself. Chapter 1307. Lei Di and Qing Xiao, Bright Lightning and Azure Firmament. Chapter 1307. Lei Di and Qing Xiao, Bright Lightning and Azure Firmament. The primal chaos sacred flame ranked the first among the 10 heaven flames of Grace Mainland. It was also the toughest one to get. Previously, when Shi Yin found the primal chaos sacred flame, it was trying to take the origin of the continent. Besides the fact that Lao Luo and the Ring Spirit had used the Origin's energy to bring Shi Yin from another universe, the other reason why Grace Mainland's energy was massively reduced was that the primal chaos sacred flame had absorbed the Origin's energy. If Shi Yin hadn't discovered it earlier, the primal chaos sacred flame could have evolved to an incredible level that would have helped it swallow all the other heaven flames. And then, it could have replaced Shi Yin to become the fountainhead, or the soul of the ancient continent. No one knew how it was formed. In legends, it was there at the dawn of the ancient continent. It was a wisp of the ancient continent's spirit. It had a magical power that could ignite the flame of life one more time. Today, Shi Yin knew that the legends were true. The wisps of the immemorial thunder dragon's separated soul were gathered in the mysterious flame of the primal chaos sacred flame. A flow of clear soul consciousness arose with the power of thunder and lightning. It was drawn by a flexible and lively flame. The immemorial thunder dragon's skeleton now had vigorous life energy as flesh and skin were growing. The immemorial thunder dragon was reviving itself. After the soul flame was ignited, he instinctively gathered the torrential energy of thunder firmament star area, and it congregated in the monster body to gather the soul. Lightning and electric beams shot out while the dragon's soul was processing, which scared Shi Yin. The clusters of the primal chaos sacred flame were like Shi Yin's soul consciousness that suddenly condensed and turned into a crystal clear flame like a lotus flying into his head. The co-soul flew out and generated a relaxing and serene feeling. Shi Yin was startled. He quietly retreated and no longer cared about the immemorial thunder dragon's resurrection anymore. For the time being, he let his body and soul sink into that wonderful feeling. Now, The magical power that could ignite the soul flame of the primal chaos sacred flame became clear to Shi. It appeared inexplicably in his inner world, and it sublimated his soul. The co-soul seemed to understand something magical, indeed. At this moment, the immemorial thunder dragon's scattered soul was gathering and creating a dazzling lightning and electric halo that people didn't dare to watch. This kind of halo had the power to threaten even souls. Ouyang Luo Shuang had to retreat further away. She couldn't help but look at Shi. Her clear and bright eyes showed her astonishment. She could see many flames multiply on Shi's body. Those flames had the life seal that was pretty similar to Shi's. While they were generating and burning, they were doing some amendment to Shi's soul and body. Countless flames were like exquisite knives in the hands of skillful craftsmen that were fixing and quenching Shi's body and some natural seals in his body. It was an incredible method that the ordinary people could never explain that was filling the flaws in his body and life and making him approach the perfect condition. Looking at Shi at this moment, she suddenly remembered what her teacher Carefree had told her. There were millions of races with different features, but none of them was called perfect, even the God Clan. In the flow of countless years in history, there were the 4 strongest races, which were the God Clan, Immortal Demon Clan, Heavenly Monster Tribe, and Imperial Dark Tribe. They were acknowledged as the races with the highest living forms. The members of these 4 clans could understand the truth of power easily. They could use their abilities of the body and the soul to the utmost level. However, they still had flaws, which were innate. Imperial Dark Tribe had feeble bodies. Heavenly Monster Tribe wasn't good at training the soul. The God Clan and the Immortal Demon Clan were balanced, but their souls weren't as exquisite as Imperial Dark Tribes and their bodies weren't as tough as Heavenly Monster Tribes. The 4 great races still had flaws. Throughout the endless time, there was only one person with the closest to perfect living form. That was bloodthirsty. Any creature could evolve to the perfect condition. With the supernatural and fortunate encounter, the God Clan, Immortal Demon Clan, Imperial Dark Tribe, and Heavenly Monster Tribe could eliminate the inborn flaws to become perfect. In fact, the foundation of the cultivation was to cultivate the body and quench the soul. In other words, it was a self-development process to eliminate or overcome innate flaws. The life form and the body structure could improve endlessly, and it could even be imparted to the next generations. The offspring of the 2 experts would have better advantages compared to the offspring of the ordinary people. What Carefree had told her arose in Ouyang Luo Shuang's head. Her eyes twinkled when she looked at Shi. She suddenly understood it. Shi's current condition showed that he was walking on a magical self-developing path. Those incredible flames were the drugs that helped him evolve, filling and overcoming the flaws in his body and making him approach perfection. The Sea Territory, Ancient God Star Area. Carefree and Light were sitting cross-legged in the void, their faces stern. Not far from them was the crowd of God Clan experts. They bowed slightly and watched the other 2 with respectful faces. The terrifying energy that could even crush an entire planet emitted from the 2 heavenly kings' bodies. Just like 2 rapid, fierce rivers, they ran directly to a blocked space passage. This passage was the door to Thunder Firmament Star Area that DeCarlos had used his supernatural power to seal. At this moment, the space passage looked like an overstretched balloon that could explode at any minute. The energy fluctuating from Carefree and Light seeped into the space passage and ran directly to the barrier of Thunder Firmament Star Area. If someone sent the soul consciousness to check, he could see that the entire Thunder Firmament Star Area was separated and the orange waves of lights were protecting it. It looked like a light bulb with a massive orange lampshade. The twinkling stars inside the lampshade were life stars inside Thunder Firmament Star Area. The farthest layer was the first crystal-clear protection of the star area where countless lightning beams were crawling. It was DeCarlos' power. At this moment, that defensive protection like an orange lampshade went under attack. A formidable force had applied on it and deformed it. At some spots, this protection looked like there was a hand pressing on an air balloon. It could pierce through the layer and explode the balloon soon. Once that protection was pierced through, the consequence was going to be terrifyingly unimaginable. The barrier around Thunder Firmament star area would be affected first. The twinkling life stars would shatter and turn into dust. Billions of creatures living on those planets would perish immediately. An entire life star could be erased and never be recovered. Carefree and Light were outraged when they knew that the Bradley family members were killed in this star area. They didn't regret destroying the entire star area to take revenge. They wanted to damage DeCarlos and destroy Shurien. If they succeeded, all the creatures living in Thunder Firmament star area would be buried altogether with Shurien. Carefree had a way to protect Ouyang Luoshuang when this star area got obliterated. Something is wrong? Suddenly, Carefree opened his eyes. His tender, handsome face was restless and anxious. Heavenly King Light stopped his action. He instinctively opened the wine bottle and took a swig. The seal is loosened. I can feel the feeble commotions of the outer layer. A formidable soul is doing something there and gathering the energy of Thunder Firmament star area to recover its power. That person might be dormant because of serious damages. I guess he's about to wake up. Do you remember the old friend of DeCarlos from Heavenly Monster Tribe? Carefree's face changed instantly. Light's sturdy body slightly quivered and said resolutely, "We should try harder." Finally, I know why DeCarlos had sent that kid to Thunder Firmament star area. That kid has the origin of Grace Mainland, and Grace Mainland is the cradle of that one. I should have thought about it. Carefree's eyes became cold and dark. They then became restless and didn't retain any bit of energy. They tried to attack the orange protection harder. Instantly, the energy gushing from them doubled. Turi. On a light band outside the star area that no one could detect, DeCarlos' senile face reddened. He spurted out blood, which was as beautiful as precious gemstones. His 10 fingers shivered. 10 space light bands shot out and poured on the barrier outside Thunder Firmament star area. DeCarlos looked worried. His sight had crossed layers of spaces to see Shurien. He muttered to himself, "There is not much time left. I have to break the barrier before the seal is broken. Otherwise, Thunder Firmament star area will be erased. We can't let them obliterate the star area you used to rule." Afterward, DeCarlos was shaken. He laughed happily then. "Haha, you're worth your reputation, Lady." He guessed that the immemorial Thunder Dragon's body was generating billions of lightning beams that were moving to every corner of Thunder Firmament star area like rivers flowing to a big sea. After less than a minute, the immemorial Thunder Dragon's body had sufficient blood and flesh. All of a sudden, a massive lightning bolt fell on the Thunder Dragon's head. Its body slightly twitched. All of a sudden, a lightning strike with the power that could shatter the world expanded everywhere. At the same time, the heart of each of the warriors cultivating lightning power Upanishad suddenly convulsed while their souls had strange vibes. It was like the mark of the birth of a creature who had formed the principles of thunder and electric power and became the representative for the true meaning of lightning and thunder. At the same time in Tsunami Star Area, Caesar, the master of the Broken Hall, a warrior who had dedicated his whole life to cultivate lightning power, looked shocked. His soul altar moved. He pondered for a while and thundered. Some creature cultivating lightning power Upanishad is about to reach second sky of a mortal realm and has triggered the utmost power of this Upanishad. As far as I know, besides the holy beast Azure Dragon, this individual is the second one to reach this level. No need to guess. That's the immemorial Thunder Dragon of Heavenly Monster Tribe. When DeCarlos has visited Thunder Firmament star area, I knew it would happen. The president of Tsunami Chamber of Commerce smiled. Lady, the immemorial Thunder Dragon, and Qing Xiao, the Azure Dragon, are the ancestors of Heavenly Monster Tribe. They both cultivate thunder and lightning power Upanishad. However, Lady has mastered the lightning power, and Qing Xiao has mastered electric power. They used to fight against each other for the chief position of Heavenly Monster Tribe. After Lady was defeated, he disappeared. Then, he accompanied DeCarlos and helped him cultivate his power. Lady and Qing Xiao have mastered lightning and electric powers respectively. In fact, they came from the same bloodline. They are brothers. Unfortunately, the two have been fighting their whole lives. They have never united. I read one thing in the secret records of the previous president. It has impressed me deeply. What's that? Caesar, Ling Xiang, and Lorraine asked in unison. Thunder Dragon and Azure Dragon were born from one zygote, one for lightning and the other for electric powers. They could fuse into one body using the secret technique of Heavenly Monster Tribe. If they fused, they would control the ultimate power of lightning and electric. They would be unrivaled, said the president of the Chamber of Commerce. Listening to him, the leaders of the other three forces discolored in fright. Fear devoured them instantly. Chapter 1308. Old Friends Reunite. Chapter 1308. Old Friends Reunite. Undersir. The two ancestors of Heavenly Monster Tribe were creatures that had been living the longest lives in the world. Their levels and powers had a close relationship with their age. The monster body grew daily. To the warriors from other races, living longer didn't mean that they were stronger. However, to Heavenly Monster Tribe, their longevity was the key to their power. If the two 100,000-year-old monsters could fuse with each other using the secret technique of Heavenly Monster Tribe, how powerful could they be? What the president had said made Ling Xiang, Caesar, and Lorraine sink into their thoughts. They could feel the lightning rumble in their heads and make them baffled. What kind of Heavenly Monster Tribe's secret technique can fuse creatures together? How could they have such a wonderful technique? Lorraine was surprised. Tianxia, does your Chamber of Commerce's secret records have anything about the fusion, if any, of Heavenly Monster Tribe's two ancestors? Ling Xiang frowned. Tianxia was the name of Tsunami Chamber of Commerce's president. In this vast universe, not many people knew his name. The experts who knew this name were all ones with important roles and extremely profound power Upanishads. The record only says that they can fuse with each other, but it doesn't say how. I think these two ancestors of Heavenly Monster Tribe have never fused before, because if they had, there would have been some rumors. Tianxia, the president, shook his head. Only when Heavenly Monster Tribe is in danger will they join hands to counter the enemy. He turned to Caesar. According to your sensibility, Lei should reach second sky of Immortal realm. Qing Xiao is at the same realm. Heavenly Monster Tribe now has two monster ancestors at second sky of Immortal realm. Heavenly Monster Tribe will stand on Yan's side. The God Clan will be more pressured. It's good then. Ling Xiang looked happy. That's how we can preserve our force. It's really tough when we count on only the bloodthirsty force when the God Clan's four great heavenly kings are at second sky of Immortal realm in addition to the God Lord who is recovering. It will be easier when Heavenly Monster Tribe joins the team. Tianxia, De Carlos, is an uncertain factor. Only you know him in our group. You ask, will he stand on the same side as us? Lorraine's face became stern. Ling Xiang and Caesar also looked at the president. De Carlos was the most known expert with the highest attainment in cultivating space power Upanishad. According to Tianxia, he had entered second sky of Immortal realm. It was a marvelous yet terrifying level of an expert cultivating space power Upanishad. It had the same meaning as the undying condition. An expert at second sky of Immortal realm cultivating space power Upanishad was stronger than two experts at the same realm but with different power Upanishads. With this expert on their side, they didn't need to worry about the barriers in this vast sea of stars. It would be much more convenient. If De Carlos was with them, their force would be greatly enhanced, which would give them more advantages in the future. It was the reason why Ling Xiang, Caesar, and Lorraine cared about De Carlos's attitude a lot. I can't understand De Carlos. Tianxia's eyes shot out a strange light as he said calmly, but I'm sure he won't be on the God Clan's side or join hands with the bloodthirsty force. The relationship between De Carlos and Ming Hao is something we should consider too. It's between a friend and enemy. I'm not really certain. Listening to him, Ling Xiang and the others were surprised and guessed the relationship between De Carlos and Ming Hao. Tianxia hadn't explained it to them yet. He only said, back to the topic. You guys need to take action now. Go to Prosaic Star Area, Hollow Fearsome Star Area, and Dry Bone Star Area to persuade them to stay on our side. Got it. The other three nodded. Thunder Firmament Star Area. Yin got up. The scorching lightning beam winding around him released a fierce electric current. When he opened his eyes, he saw an imposing man like a mountain standing upright in front of him. That man wore silver clothes, but his arms were exposed. Lightning beams were crawling on his arms like snakes. His eyes were like two lightning balls that would shake someone's soul hard, like getting hit by a lightning strike after one look at them. Ouyang Luo Shuang stood by the man, her face respectful but cold. She didn't say anything, but she looked like she was bullied. See? He wakes up now. He's fine, right? Little girl, you're annoying. Why were you persistent in stopping me? Why didn't you believe in this old lay? His voice was like grumbling thunder pounding on people's eardrums. However, he seemed to not notice that he was spraying his saliva while talking. Ouyang Luo Shuang didn't know how to put up with him. She just quietly avoided him as she was afraid that his saliva would reach her. After Lady revived, he had caught up with the situation pretty well. He turned into his humanoid form and then came to look at Shi Yin. Ouyang Luo Shuang had stopped him from bothering Shi Yin. At that moment, Shi Yin was burning by the heaven flames, and he was in a magical comprehending circumstance. She was afraid that Lady would disturb Shi Yin and make him fall into bedevilment. Lady thought that she was so annoyed, so he used a beam of lightning to tie her up. When Shi Yin woke up, he untied her and yelled, "His marvelous change is done. It's not going to hurt him if we wake him up now. This kind of body development happens really quickly. You don't need to worry a lot." "You are it?" Shi Yin frowned, looking at Lady. "You've broken through to the new realm?" The lightning beams wound around his body like many snakes. It was lightning energy that overflowed. At his level, Lady's lightning energy shouldn't act that way unless he had just broken through to the new realm. "Kiddo, you got keen eyes. You're worthy of the one with our ancestral land's origin. Thanks to you, I've entered second sky of Immortal realm. Haha, I can fight against Qing Xiao now. Last time, he defeated me. I lost the battle for the chief position. This time, I will have it back," Lady grinned. "Qing Xiao," screamed Shi Yin. "He's Azure Dragon. Qing Xiao is his name. Where is he now?" asked Lady. On Heavenly Monster Tribe's ancestral star, Shi Yin observed him and sneered. "Currently, your Heavenly Monster Tribe isn't a strong force. Because of Azure Dragon, Imperial Dark Tribe can't obliterate your tribe. And now, you want to fight with him? Without him, Heavenly Monster Tribe couldn't have existed. You should thank him. Thank him for defeating you that year. I can tell if you were the chief of Heavenly Monster Tribe. Heavenly Monster Tribe might not exist by now." Shi Yin didn't mean to stab Lady like that. At first glance, he knew this man had typical characteristics of Heavenly Monster Tribe. He was rough, brutal, and not really slick and sly. Most of all, he didn't have plans or patience. Lady might be an innate warrior with endless power on the battlefield, but if he was the chief of the tribe, he would have brought a deadly disaster to his tribe. As Shi Yin had fused with the Grace Mainland's origin, he considered Heavenly Monster Tribe as his subjects. When he thought about them, he did it with the position of a superior. If he could choose, he would still choose Azure Dragon to be the chief. Lady could fight for Heavenly Monster Tribe, but he was just a pure warrior. He wasn't good chief material. "Hey kid, your speaking isn't pleasant to my ears. If you didn't awaken me, I would have thought you how to speak for sure. But now, seize the time and get out of this Thunder Firmament star area. Carefree and Light are about to get here. You can make no difference even if you stay. Also, De Carlos and I have to take care of you if you stay." Lady grinned and said, "De Carlos has lifted the seal. You can feel something, I'm sure. You cultivate space power Upanishad, so you should feel the change. With the relationship between you and the ancestral star, you can run away in any minute. I advise you to leave as soon as possible. Don't let Carefree and Light kill you in just a blink of an eye." Listening to him, Shi Yin spun his soul altar and activated his space power Upanishad in the tier of powers Upanishads. Layers of space energy like ripples on a water surface expanded from his body. His god power circulated and was sent through his veins, releasing an aura of space blades. A marvelous energy seeped out from his bone and functioned as a space barrier to protect his body. It helped him adapt to strict conditions in any space cracks. From Yin, the space energy rippled and connected to Thunder Firmament star area instantly. The star map of the entire star area appeared in his head like a three-dimension picture. His soul consciousness had expanded endlessly. Thunder Firmament star area in his head seemed to shrink billions of times and become a nebula as big as a palm of a hand in his sea of consciousness. He could see everything happening in this star area. That nebula of Thunder Firmament star area had an outmost orange light layer. That light layer was attacked fiercely. Cracks appeared. He was shaken, his eyes strange. He was really touched. Thunder Firmament star area was now a sand table that was billions of times smaller than the original. Although he couldn't check the small stars or use his soul consciousness to visit the life stars in this star area, he could see everything as if he had a bird's view. You've just reached second sky of incipient God realm. After this time, your body has sublimated, which has stabilized your realm. Lady snorted and then pouted his lips, shaking his head. Weak. Too weak. You can't even endure a blow from Carefree and Light. So, get lost. While he was talking, a space slit appeared. White-headed DeCarlos walked out from it. DeCarlos didn't look at Yin, but at Lady. He looked so thrilled. It's good to see you again. Lady laughed happily. Hey, buddy. You look much older, though. I still remember your innocent look that year. Haha. You've reached the Immortal realm, too. Time flies so fast. The old friends reunited. They didn't even look at Yin and Ouyang Luoshuang or recognize the fact that Carefree and Light were about to come. The two friends immersed in their old stories and their old world. Yin and Ouyang Luoshuang exchanged the surprised looks. They looked at Lady and DeCarlos, who were like two talkative old women recalling their old junk. They didn't know what to do. After a while, DeCarlos finally reacted. He threw Yin a glance without turning his head and asked skeptically, "Why haven't you left yet?" "I think I should stay and watch the battle between Carefree, Light, and you guys," said Yin. "You're just at second sky of incipient God realm. You can't bear the shockwaves of our attacks. I advise you to leave and save us from more trouble." DeCarlos lowered his voice. "If you're here, I can leave in any minute. I want to stay and watch. Even if I can't, I'll still stay." Yin was persistent. DeCarlos frowned and didn't talking more. "Suit yourself. If you die, it's your bad luck. Perhaps Ming Hao will find it amusing, though." Yin was astounded. Chapter 1309. A Showdown of Immortal Realm Experts. Chapter 1309. A Showdown of Immortal Realm Experts. The void of Thunder Firmament star area was as bright and clear as a mirror without a speck of dust. DeCarlos had used his power to wash the place. He used his god power to seal the entire star area. However, as soon as his seal was lifted, the chaotic energy magnetic field created by the sudden change of earth and heaven energy immediately rolled over from every direction. It was because immemorial Thunder Dragon had taken in the energy of the peripheral area of Thunder Firmament star area that had changed the energy structure of the area massively. Currently, Thunder Firmament star area wasn't stable. DeCarlos could foresee the situation, so he had lifted up the barrier sooner. Otherwise, if he let Carefree and Light continue to attack the barrier, this star area would have exploded. If that happened, billions of lives would be buried and creatures would have to live in damnation. Also, as the seal was lifted, the great heavenly King Carefree and Light would come quickly. They then saw two bands of divine light shoot through the universe. In just a blink, the two lights had arrived in front of DeCarlos and Lady. Carefree's face was cold and calm like water. The moonlight in his eyes was like an ice sword that was brutally cold. He frowned and a cold moon appeared behind his head. That cold moon looked like an ice crystal. It was the essence of moonlight and starlight from a primal time. It was Carefree's cultivating path and the foundation of his incipient extent. He had crushed and combined so many moon nuclei to create this moon. It had Carefree's soul power that could change the moonlight that people thought never changed. As soon as his cool moon appeared, all the lunar stars in Thunder Firmament star area were burned and shot cold moonlight. At that moment, those moons spun and gathered by Carefree. Those silver rings emitted cold air currents. Carefree looked Ouyang Luo Shuang, his face tender as he called softly, "Come here with me." Ouyang Luo Shuang's eyes were bright but cold. She looked at Shi Yin and then Lady and De Carlos before pondering. Then, she talked nothing and walked towards Carefree. She called him with her head low, "Teacher?" Carefree looked happy. "It's good that you're all right. Your teacher has been really worried for you." Then, Carefree opened his mouth, releasing the essence of the moonlight that was like broken diamonds falling on Ouyang Luo Shuang. They entered her incipient extent through her glabella. "It's the essence of the moon that I have for you. It can help you reach second sky of incipient God realm. Today, you know your teacher's identity, I suppose. Although you're not from my clan, the power Upanishad and the cold energy you had absorbed are similar to mine. Later on, only you can inherit and carry on my career." Ouyang Luo Shuang nodded quietly. People couldn't guess what she had in her mind from her tranquil eyes. "Carefree, don't forget why we're here," Heavenly King Light intervened. His eyes were like a beautiful sparkling ocean. Shi Yin hallucinated that he was inside a sea of light. His soul was too puzzled so he couldn't tell. Shi Yin couldn't bear to look at Light's eyes. "Of course, I won't forget it." After Carefree could confirm that Ouyang Luo Shuang was all right, he felt much better. The worries he had in his mind vanished instantly. He looked cold and wise as he always did. "You're an alien in the bloodthirsty force. You're obviously bloodthirsty successor, but you have space and star power Upanishads. Your star power Upanishad is derived from our light power Upanishad. I'm not sure if you're bloodthirsty's pride or our God clan's humiliation. It's a special case that you can use and fuse our supernatural technique." Carefree observed Shi Yin quietly. The cold moon behind him changed all of a sudden. It turned into a harsh, ruthless eye that was exactly like Carefree's eye. That massive eye created from the cold moon emitted cold, inhuman light. However, it had a gleam of holy moonlight that was strange, magical, and untouchable. As the eye was gazing at Shi Yin, he was quivering, his face distorted. The cold energy was like many sharp knives stabbing his flesh and soul altar to stir up his sea of consciousness. It attempted to cut off his emotions and desires, erasing his soul seal. It was only a look. It was only a look from Carefree. Shi Yin was frightened. At this moment, he had finally understood the power of the immortal realm experts. His power could invade and ignore Shi Yin's soul defense. It was true that nothing Shi Yin had could stop him. As he couldn't wiggle, blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. That trickle was his immortal blood that was like a beautiful ruby. "Enough!" Lady thundered. The overbearing thunder echoed from him as if countless worlds had just exploded at once to create earth-shattering energy. That energy was like an invisible undersea wave that wildly generated between Shi Yin and Carefree. It crazily expanded and directly attacked Carefree's energy. The space between Shi Yin and Carefree exploded, shattering piece by piece as if a massive beast was pressing on it. Billions of chaotic space currents with light, gust, icy sleet, thunderstorm, and endless darkness flooded Thunder Firmament star area. Thunder Firmament star area eroded as if it was acid pouring on the place. The star area was being eliminated by space streamers and being burned into a part of the chaotic space basin. There was a rumor saying that one day, the chaotic current of the space basin would overflow and flood the entire sea of stars. It was the day that the universe was gone. All the life stars, mineral stars, dead stars, and all creatures of different races would perish in just a glimpse of time. Seeing the energy come from the chaotic space basin in this sea of stars, covering it and devouring it, Shi Yin changed his face. He thought he was witnessing doomsday. The outer space streamers were like an extremely powerful erosive liquid that splashed between Shi Yin and Carefree, shattering the void and making it a chaotic space current. This space current expanded to 10,000 miles. The mine where Lady had been dormant, which was pretty far from their area, became nothing in just a blink of an eye. A bit further from there, several mineral stars and dead stars vanished at the same moment and disappeared into the chaotic space basin, or became a part of this space current. If Carefree and Lady fought that way, and let the energy from the chaotic space basin enter the star area further, the entire Thunder Firmament star area could have collapsed and disappeared, becoming part of the chaotic space basin. Shi Yan's heart felt so chilled. The battle of the Immortal Realm experts could destroy the entire star area. When the energy made a downpour from the space basin to attack Thunder Firmament star area, Shi Yan's nerves were shaking. He looked at DeCarlos, his face grave. He had soon guessed DeCarlos's identity. If an expert cultivating space power Upanishad at DeCarlos level turned evil and interfered with the spatial structure by guiding the chaotic space basin into the galaxies, it would be the worst nightmare of every creature. No wonder why DeCarlos had received such respect. Even when the God Clan was at their peak of power, they didn't dare to provoke him. Shi Yan suddenly understood it. Experts cultivating space power Upanishad to the profound level became existences that frightened every force and star area. They could move between the spaces freely. They could turn a star area into nothing or make it a part of the turbulent space basin. Who wouldn't be frightened of such experts? Unless it was someone who could kill them. But who in this vast universe could kill DeCarlos, an expert at second sky of Immortal Realm? Perhaps the God Lord could, but he had to recover his power first. Bloodthirsty could, but he was dead. For the time being, the warrior that could stop DeCarlos hadn't existed yet. Fortunately, this man wasn't a villain. Luckily, this man was still a friend and not an enemy. Otherwise, no one could imagine the consequences. Shi Yan felt lucky. I don't want to get involved in the war between the God Clan and the bloodthirsty force. I took Shi Yan to Thunder Firmament star area to revive my old friend. Nothing more than that. DeCarlos frowned and said to Carefree and Light, I saved him. He awakened Lady. I owned him once. Then, the space waves rippled through DeCarlos's eyes. The space ripples were like a magical arm that smoothed the shattered area between Lady and Shi Yan. The marvelous outer space streamers looked as if they were squeezed and put back to the chaotic space basin. Everybody says that it's hard to fight experts cultivating space power Upanishad. If you can fight against me without running away, I can give you face this time. Light grinned brightly. He rose one finger and shot out a gold light. The gold light was shiny as if it was crystal, and it reflected a lot of brilliant light beams weaving with each other. Each of those beams had a wisp of light soul. That soul was gold. It looked like a brand new life. The light spirit. He used the soul as the foundation, the light as the conductor, and the light spirit. This was the deepest performance of the light power Upanishad. The gold light spirits were like countless clones of Heavenly King Light. They yelled and cheered. The creatures that Heavenly King Light had created from his incipient extent were the ultimate power of light. The gold light spirits represented the fountainhead of the light power Upanishad, which was the most touching performance of the power and the origin. All the light spirits swarmed towards DeCarlos and wiggled to get through the barrier that DeCarlos had set up, directly attacking his body. DeCarlos wore a grave and heavy countenance. You've understood the principle of power. Your Upanishad now can create lives. You didn't waste the past 10,000 years, indeed. He closed his eyes all of a sudden. DeCarlos's body twisted and so many new worlds arose on his arms, face, and chest, which were endlessly immense. They were the wonder that DeCarlos had used the power Upanishad create. He had created spaces. After he had twisted his body, 9,900 worlds were created. Each of them was what DeCarlos had comprehended of the space power Upanishad and connected to countless real worlds and the space basin. Each of those spaces could turn into a space passage with a flicker of his mind, which helped DeCarlos cross different star areas easily. Looking at the endless worlds on DeCarlos' body, Shi Yan was shaken. He could feel a flash of recognition. Each space that DeCarlos created had opened him a new door to another higher level of space power Upanishad. Heavenly King Light's light spirit had approached DeCarlos and entered his immense worlds, moving in different spaces. One after another, the worlds on DeCarlos' body shattered into pieces. After each of the worlds was broken, it disappeared together with a gold light spirit. Every time it happened, DeCarlos and Light showed they were suffering. The battle in such a level had gone beyond Shi Yan's understanding. Observing this battle, Shi Yan felt so touched. He knew that after observing this battle, his harvest would be unimaginable. Chapter 1310. The Same Gateway. Chapter 1310. The Same Gateway _. The showdown of the Immortal Realm experts had generated an extremely formidable power that could destroy an entire star area. As soon as DeCarlos and Heavenly King Light began to fight, Carefree and Lady stopped their battle. They then focused on DeCarlos and Light, which temporarily removed Shi Yan's pressure. But Shi Yan was still cautious. He had almost used all of his power to create layers of protection around his body in an attempt to resist the sudden attack at any minute. He knew his realm was much lower than Carefree's. As long as Carefree didn't mind about his status and ambush him, Shi Yan would be killed instantly. Thus, during the battle, he had secretly put up guard against Carefree. Heavenly King Light's light spirits had destroyed DeCarlos's worlds one by one. Those spaces were DeCarlos's Upanishad ability that could connect countless star areas directly. DeCarlos could use them to move freely and leave no trace behind. He could appear and disappear like a mysterious ghost. However, those spaces were shattering, collapsing, and exploding altogether with the light spirits. Every time when the space and light spirit disappeared, DeCarlos and Light looked as if they were suffering pains. The shockwaves from their attack had created countless tornadoes in Thunder Firmament star area as if doomsday coming. Those tornadoes expanded, and they became a disaster for many life stars in Thunder Firmament star area in the next 100 years, or even 1,000 years. Those mortal people never knew that the phenomena they called disasters used to be the shockwaves from the battle between the Immortal Realm experts hundreds of years ago. It was their suffering. Shi Yan was shaken. He looked at DeCarlos quietly. He knew that it would be his future. As they both cultivated space power Upanishad, Shi Yan knew that if he could reach second sky of Immortal Realm, he could have the same abilities as DeCarlos. He could control the chaotic space basin. His soul consciousness could pierce through star areas, and his body could move between space slits. Different spaces arose on DeCarlos' body, and the mysterious yet marvelous space energy had opened a new door for Shi Yan. The door leading to the profound gate of the space power Upanishad. DeCarlos. All of a sudden, Heavenly King Light bellowed and touched his glabella to urge the soul altar. A magnificent, holy light that had many layers suddenly appeared above his head. It was the highest level of light's power Upanishad with the foundation and the essence of light power Upanishad. That massive light came from Heavenly King Light's incipient extent. It was the highest form of light and the soul of his power. As soon as that brilliant light appeared, Shi Yan and Ouyang Luo Shuang were dazzled because of their low realms. They couldn't see anything. Heaven Gate. DeCarlos frowned and made many magical hand seals. Countless heaven gates appeared from his hand. Quickly, many illusions of that gate appeared. They didn't know where that heaven gate led to, but the aura diffused from that gate was wild and had the energy fluctuation of the origin. The great light fell and floated by the heaven gate. Many smaller light beams emitted, entered the heaven gate, and disappeared into DeCarlos's sea of consciousness. All of a sudden, the Heavenly King Light was perplexed. He looked at the heaven gate, his face changing quietly. Is it enough? It was the first time DeCarlos showed his fierce face and bellowed, "Before the God Lord recovers, the God Clan is no threat to me. I'm always alone. If you anger me, I will let the chaotic space basin flow into ancient God Star area. Then, I will see how lucky the 12 families of the God Clan are to escape this." Carefree and Light discolored in fright. They looked at DeCarlos and pondered. Heavenly King Light retreated his magnificent light, and his face became calm and natural. At the same time, Shi Yan and Ouyang Luo Shuang regained their sight. They could now see their surroundings. Everything was normal. DeCarlos, can you ensure that you won't join the war between the God Clan and the Bloodthirsty Force? Light looked at DeCarlos sternly. I told you. I'm here this time to awaken Lady. That kid helped my old friend awaken him. I owe him one. Thus, I have to protect him this time. DeCarlos snorted and then said, Lei has established this Thunder Firmament star area. The God Clan isn't allowed to trespass. Ming Hao is your junior, but he has followed bloodthirsty force. He used to cultivate space power Upanishad with you. Will you mind that bond? Asked Carefree all of a sudden. Hearing him, Shi Yan's eyes brightened. He couldn't help but look at DeCarlos. Shi Yan suddenly remembered Bello, the chief of the Dark Shadow clan. Bello was at second sky of incipient god realm cultivating space power Upanishad. Ming Hao had controlled this expert by his soul control power Upanishad. He might have taught Bello this special power too. He was shocked as he just recognized that he was a little dumb. He should have recognized the relationship between DeCarlos and Ming Hao earlier. Since he has followed Bloodthirsty and become the leader of the Cortege of 8, he is no longer my brother. DeCarlos's eyes were cold. My teacher's death is related to Bloodthirsty. As Ming Hao goes the same way as the enemy, I obviously won't support him. Carefree and Light looked at him, their faces hesitant. They all knew DeCarlos and Ming Hao's teacher. That expert used to be the most unpredictable character in this vast sea of stars. That man was the founder of Space Power Upanishad. During his whole life, he had accepted only 2 disciples, DeCarlos and Ming Hao. That year, Bloodthirsty had shown off his talent and become overbearing. In this universe, he had caused a lot of blood showers that made the experts join hands to punish him. DeCarlos's teacher was the most powerful expert. However, this expert was the most eye-catching rival of Bloodthirsty. Bloodthirsty had killed him eventually. Because of his death, Bloodthirsty had become the great title of the strongest warrior in this vast sea of stars. Years later, no one dared to challenge Bloodthirsty. After their teacher was killed, DeCarlos stayed in seclusion to cultivate. Ming Hao had sought Bloodthirsty to take revenge and turned out. The result was that Ming Hao didn't take his revenge, but became the leader of the 8 chiefs inexplicably. Bloodthirsty had given him the soul control power Upanishad and made his force the strongest force of the Bloodthirsty force. He had assisted Bloodthirsty to claim and control many forces and star areas discreetly. It was still a riddle how Bloodthirsty had persuaded Ming Hao. No one had discovered this secret yet. DeCarlos didn't know it, either. Perhaps only Ming Hao knew how and why he had become the leader of the 8 chiefs, deviating from his initial purpose of seeking Bloodthirsty to take revenge. All right, we'll give you face, Heavenly King Light pondered and then said resolutely, later on, the God Clan will not invade Thunder Firmament star area. And that kiddo, we won't touch him this time then. I hope you were being sincere. I hope you will just stand and watch the battle between the God Clan and the Bloodthirsty force. He turned to Carefree. What do you think? Carefree's eyes were dark and glum. His eyes scanned Shi Yan for a few seconds. He then chuckled. He's only at incipient God realm. It's easy to kill him. Even though he can avoid us this time, no one can be sure if he can do it again. Exchanging him for DeCarlos staying aside from this war is worth it. DeCarlos, I hope you remember your teacher's death. Light snorted, turned around, and left. Only with one step, he had crossed billions of miles. He disappeared quickly. Let's go. Carefree smiled and left with Ouyang Luo Shuang. Ouyang Luo Shuang looked bright and cold, standing on the essence of the moon. She suddenly turned around to look at Shi Yan. The complex and inexplicable emotions in her eyes touched Shi Yan. Carefree and Light had come forcefully, attempted to kill Shi Yan, and hurt DeCarlos. However, when they found that Lady revived and had reached second sky of Immortal realm, they knew that they couldn't kill their targets this time. After the battle with DeCarlos, Heavenly King Light knew that DeCarlos's fighting competency wasn't less than his. He immediately got a new idea. DeCarlos knew what he wanted. He made himself resolutely clear that he wouldn't get involved in the war between the God Clan and the Bloodthirsty force. It was exactly what Light wanted. Thus, he had another plan. Although they couldn't kill Shi Yan with their earth-shaking aura this time, they knew DeCarlos' real competence and Lady's resurrection. Also, they had forced DeCarlos to promise not to engage in the war. To Carefree and Light, this was all right. They could accept this outcome. Shi Yan and Thunder Firmament star area weren't as important as DeCarlos's attitude in their eyes. Oh, you are Ming Hao's brother. screamed Yin with an awkward face after Carefree and Light had left. DeCarlos snorted and looked at him coldly. You saved Lady. I saved you. We're good now. No debt anymore. If you meet Ming Hao, please tell him not to disturb me. Bloodthirsty killed your teacher. I thought you would stand on the God Clan side to obliterate the bloodthirsty force. I think it's weird that you put yourself in a neutral position. I understand why you don't support bloodthirsty force, but why aren't you helping the God Clan either? Asked Yin. You're so annoying. DeCarlos had a fierce light in his eyes. He immediately created a space prison to confine Yin. All of a sudden, a door appeared. DeCarlos pushed Yin through the door. After Yin opened his eyes, he found himself in Grace Mainland. Floating in the sea of clouds, Yin lifted his head to look at the horizon and frowned. There were many vague ideas in his head. Ming Hao wanted to find Bloodthirsty to take revenge, but no one knew why he had become the leader of the 8 chiefs. Why did DeCarlos not choose to destroy the bloodthirsty force to take revenge for his teacher? Why did he choose to stay neutral? What did he want after all? This time he could run away from Carefree because of DeCarlos. Was DeCarlos's operation this time because of the Thunder Dragon Lady or because of Ming Hao? He squeezed his brain to think, but he couldn't find a reason. He thought that the bond between DeCarlos and Ming Hao wasn't as simple as what Light and Carefree had mentioned. Perhaps the relationship and the grudge between them were over his imagination. A bow-like Azure lightning flashed. Holy Beast Azure Dragon appeared out of nowhere and knitted his brows. Where is Lady? Lady is with DeCarlos. I guess they're still in Thunder Firmament Star area. He has awakened, screaming and yelling to tell me that he wanted to beat you for Heavenly Monster Tribe's chief position, Yin said casually. Azure Dragon just laughed. I'm waiting for him. Chapter 1311, General Situation. Chapter 1311, General Situation _ I heard that the war has begun. What's the situation? Yin was in Grace Mainland. His soul checked around to see all the commotions in every small corner of the continent. He found many old monsters of Heavenly Monster Tribe weren't here, not even Xia Xian Yin and Xiao. Recalling what DeCarlos had said, he realized something. He guessed the others had gone to join the war. Yeah, it's begun. Azure Dragon looked grave. He pondered for a while, and then waved his hand. Follow me. His body flashed, and he reappeared on Heavenly Monster Mountain Range. His hand wiped over an abandoned lake in the valley. It looked like a roll of a picture was slowly unveiled. The surrounding mountains suddenly became transparent and projected the dazzling lights shining on the lake. Some images that were from different star areas appeared on the lake. A war happened on those star areas. Many battleships were flying fast. The warriors were engaged in fierce battles. While Azure Dragon changed his power Upanishad, the moving images in the lake became clearer. Yin could even see the faces of the warriors. He counted and found 12 sections showing images on the lake that were from the 12 star areas. The warriors of Heavenly Monster Tribe, Bloodthirsty Force, Thousand Fantasy Sect, Broken Hall, and Heaven River Temple were seen there too. And of course, their targets were the warriors of the God Clan. To be exact, they had aimed at the forces of the God Clan's 12 families. Yin saw many familiar faces. Leona, Yang Tian Emperor, Fei Lan, Ka Tuo, and Benny were there. He also saw Song Yuan of Heavenly Monster Tribe and his fellows with the experts of Thousand Fantasy Sect. Their opponents were all God Clan's experts. Many battleships were moving and firing. Different energies exploded. The soul altar shattered, turning into small light dots and scattering. The battles were so fierce. While Yin was in Grace Mainland, the entire universe was engaging in a stormy war. Currently, they have battles in the 12 star areas. It's not at ancient God star area of the God Clan. They are the star areas that the God Clan families have invaded or are about to invade. The 12 families of the God Clan are in a war. However, the Immortal Realm experts have a tacit understanding that they won't join the battles over there. Because with only one Immortal Realm expert, it is enough to change the general situation of an entire star area. Besides Imperial Dark Tribe, who remains neutral and indifferent, all the other clans and forces have joined this war. Xianhe has called for our Heavenly Monster Tribe and the Immortal Demon Clan. Thousand Fantasy Sect, Broken Hall, Heaven River Temple, and even Prosaic Star Area, Hollow Fearsome Star Area, and many small forces are with the bloodthirsty force in this war. Ming Hao is indeed powerful. Although he has just revealed some forces he controls, it's already incredible. With a heavy complexion, Azure Dragon pointed at the moving images on the lake and explained to Shi Yin the current situation of the cosmos. Shi Yin's face turned dark and cold as he was observing the fierce battles in each star area. Ming Hao had cultivated soul control power Upanishad. In the past 10,000 years, he had discreetly enslaved the souls of many experts at a high position in levels like Mu Wei, Bai Yifeng, and Bello. In this vast universe, some forces that had disappeared for a long time suddenly reappeared in this war. The leaders of those forces had a blood mark on their forehead that terrified others. Taking Randolph, the chief of the Dark Force, for example, he was a member of the Charteris family of the God Clan. This time, Randolph appeared as the cult master of the Dark Nether God cult. Tens of thousands of years ago, the Dark Nether God cult used to be very powerful. However, their dark techniques were too evil. They had even sacrificed living beings to increase their own power. Many forces had joined hands to destroy this cult. Everybody thought that the Dark Nether God cult had been obliterated. However, this time, Randolph reappeared with many former disciples of the old Dark Nether God cult. They worshipped him as their god, and they were really extreme, as if they weren't afraid of death. There were many forces that were similar to the Dark Nether God cult. They should have extinguished a long time ago. However, when the Bloodthirsty Force and the God Clan announced a war, they bizarrely reappeared, and all of the leaders were Ming Hao's loyal subordinates. Those forces weren't weak. They were even stronger than the Wu family or the Zhao family. Their participation had frightened the entire Sea of Stars. Everybody knew this war had just begun. It meant that Ming Hao hadn't mobilized all of his forces yet. It meant that Ming Hao still had more powerful cards. This had weighed the warriors' hearts down. Ming Hao's fierceness was revealed. The warriors who knew about the soul control power Upanishad became cautious. They began to doubt their loyal subordinates who Ming Hao could summon in any minute. Who has gained the upper hand now? Shi Yin lifted his head and asked Azure Dragon. Azure Dragon wore a bitter face, but his voice calm. The God Clan has shown their outstanding power in every aspect. If the war continues this way, they will win eventually. Shi Yin was surprised. Why is that? You should come and see one of the battles there. Azure Dragon rose one finger, and a section on the lake's surface was zoomed close up. It was a melee between the God Clan, Wu family, the Zhao family, and Heavenly Monster Tribe. The members of the God Clan had a battleship made of the most precious and powerful materials. Each of them had excellent armor and weapons with the magical panacea. In every battle, they had cooperated closely and smoothly with their troopers and created excellent formations. The Wu family, the Zhao family, and Heavenly Monster Tribe couldn't have such powerful armor and supplies. In the past 10,000 years, the God Clan has continuously invaded the major star areas and enslaved them. They have robbed countless materials from other star areas to train their warriors. Their warriors have joined battles all the time. They are all experienced. At the same time, their armor, weapons, medicines, battleships, and even morale are higher and better than the others. If the Bloodthirsty Force didn't have more people, we would have been defeated right from the start. This period of 10,000 years has fattened the God Clan. With the aid from weapons and medicines, a King God Realm warrior of the God Clan can resist against 2 warriors on our side. Azure Dragon took a deep breath and then said, when they join to make the formation, their advantages become clearer. The invincible reputation of the God Clan wasn't just in vain. What Holy Beast Azure Dragon had said, and the images Shi Yin had observed had doubled the pressure on his shoulder. He knew that the God Clan was powerful, but after they had actually engaged in the war, Shi Yin deeply understood how powerful they were. Although his side had many forces supported from everywhere, it couldn't gain the upper hand. It showed to what level the God Clan had reached after 10,000 years of accumulation. If we keep continuing this way, the God Clan will have a higher chance to win. Azure Dragon sighed again. The God Clan has the God Lord, the 4 heavenly kings, and Feng Ju of the Elders Committee. They are all at the Immortal realm. The 12 families have so many incipient God realm experts too. If the God Clan's reproduction wasn't that much weaker than human clan, they could have conquered this whole world in 10,000 years. Are you saying that we don't have any chance to win this war? Shi Yin knitted his brows. No, we still have you. You are the biggest variable. Azure Dragon's eyes shot out a fierce light. Your bloodthirsty successor. You can overturn the general picture. I believe you can do that. But Xian He, Ming Hao, and Frederick couldn't overturn it. How could I do that? Shi Yin was astounded. Because they aren't bloodthirsty's heir. They can't, but you can, shouted Azure Dragon. I wish to hear the details. Shi Yin honestly asked for guidance. You understand devouring power Upanishad. It not only strengthens yourself, but also increases the power of the warriors with the blood mark. In a battle, you can use the devouring power to take in energy from the enemies and transmit it to the bloodthirsty's retinue. Your subordinate's energy will rock it instantly. You'll have super warriors with profound realms and abundant energy, which can make up for all their flaws, said Azure Dragon. That year, the God Clan and the forces around the Sea of Stars had attacked the bloodthirsty force. Their first target was Bloodthirsty. As long as he lived, the 8 chiefs could increase their power unceasingly. Once they got hurt, Bloodthirsty killed the God warriors to devour their energy and send it to the wounded warriors to heal them rapidly. It was the most terrifying feature of the bloodthirsty force. God-perishing land of the God Clan took reference from the devouring power Upanishad. It developed similar characteristics as the devouring power Upanishad. They used the dark prison demonic flower to absorb the blood and flesh from victims to create a place to heal the God warriors. Compared to the real devouring power Upanishad, the God-perishing land isn't really sufficient. If you can master the devouring power Upanishad, you can definitely change the situation. Azure Dragon understood the special abilities of the bloodthirsty force. Shi Yin got it immediately after listening to Azure Dragon. He remembered that he had used the devouring power Upanishad to pour the energy into Fei Lan, Leona, and Ka Tua through the mark on their forehead. He recognized that Azure Dragon's suggestion was subtle and profound. It was true. Xian He, Ming Hao, and Frederick couldn't change this overall situation, but he could. It was because he was the bloodthirsty force's master's successor. He used devouring power Upanishad. Are you sure that the Immortal Realm expert won't join the war for now? He was startled all of a sudden. It's a tacit agreement, Azure Dragon nodded. If the God Clan doesn't want to destroy many star areas, they will follow this agreement. It won't change anytime soon at least. Shi Yin grinned and asked, where's the closest battlefield? Fiery Rain Star Area. Azure Dragon understood him. They're in a dangerous situation. If you go there and help them win the battle, the warriors of Fiery Rain Star Area will have their power rocket because of you. You can make your debut there. Who has joined that battlefield? Asked Shi Yin. Benny and Ka Tua with the warriors of Agate Star Area. You should start to change the situation of this war from there, answered Azure Dragon. Shi Yin nodded and then turned away. Right at this moment, Azure Dragon called after him. Take Ghost Hunter with you. I've restricted him for a long time. He should go out and get some fresh air. Okay, you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.